Defiant to the end, huh?
What you gonna do, huh? We've swept this place. You've got nothing. We have guns.
No, what you have are bullets, and the hope that when your guns are empty, I'm no longer standing, because if I am, you'll all be dead before you've reloaded.
That's impossible. Kill him.
My turn. Beneath this mask, there is more than flesh. Beneath this mask, there is an idea. And ideas are bulletproof.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. What the hell? I was muted. I said, why StreamYard's doing this to me lately? Welcome everybody to the show. What a great start. Fantastic. As you see, look at me. I feel like I've been slacking lately on the hat group. So I pulled out an old black hat, and look, it's a graveyard shift hat. Well, I made it a graveyard shift hat. It's a sticker there. That's what we can do here. We can do this sort of stuff. There you go. Chaotic Neutral agrees. He says, nice hat, Mr. Bancroft. Leroy, what are you doing here? I thought you were hangover out on Shane's channel. You know, here we are. Yeah, it's the late show. My goodness, this morning I had to take my daughter to the doctor, and we've got an appointment at 11:45 in the AM. I didn't get into the doctor until about 1 o'clock, and because of COVID, we had to sit out in the car until that time. And if you can imagine, you know, all that time with an 8-year-old in the car, it gets heavy. And then, you know, we had to do the doctor's appointment, and then we found out why it had taken so long. The doctor is a bit of a talker. We sat in there for a while, and then we just came home, and I saw that all you good people here, well, maybe not all of you, not Leroy. Leroy's going to bed. Good night, little Leroy. Sleep tight. Have a good little dreams there. Yeah, you know, you were asking what's going on with the late show. So yeah, we thought we'd start one up, and we're joined here by Dr. Whom. You're in.
I'm
Welcome.
Here. Hi.
Welcome.
It was a mutiny earlier.
What was a mutiny?
How StreamYards was screwing with your microphone.
It was. I don't know. It's the second time it's done that to me. I've been seeing it's happening more often. Oh, and Checkerbox Man. It's the return of Camel Moon.
Oh, thank God I'm not alone.
Yeah,
freaking out the you know, the camera there with that checkerboard top. Where does one even get a top like that?
The magical powers of Amazon. I saw
comes in special order. They pick it up and go, oh, another one's bought this jumper.
This poor guy. He has no taste. Let's just give it to him. It was $3. Yeah, I liked it. I was like, hey, I haven't seen that before. I could direct traffic. I could land airplanes.
Yeah.
I could play chess on me.
You're not going to get hit by a car late at night.
No. Yeah. You could play checkers on me.
If you were, it would be intentional.
True. Yeah, they'd
There's
aim
no-
for me. They're like, let's
That's
put him
right.
out of his misery.
Are you playing trombone tonight or trumpet, saxophone?
I don't get the reference.
Just answer the question.
No.
No. Okay, so no two-tone ska tonight. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No.
Oh,
Gotcha.
boom, boom, ching.
Well,
Good
just-
one. What do you think of my hat?
I think
Look at
it
that.
looks like the Malin logo.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, okay.
All these people saying it's hard to get hats made. You don't need to get it made. Just get a normal plain hat and just stick a sticker on it, and then you're representing CG.
Yeah, Carlo Rowe has those patches coming out. You could do the same thing.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go.
And-
Does everyone get a patch, or is that something you have to buy?
I don't know. I mean, I saw a picture. He has like 1 million boxes of these things. So I would imagine everyone gets one, but I don't. It was probably a stretch goal.
Yeah, I remember I've got an old Trump Space Force hat, but I don't know if I want to wear that. It'll get too political.
Where to space?
Yeah, yeah. Let's say hello to the lovely chat here. Jim Cox is here. Mo Biggs is here. Great to see you guys. Jim was
I didn't even
wondering.
know we were live.
Yeah, we're in. We're in.
Wow, great.
You know this is how I talk.
I'm
let's-
just glad I kept my mouth shut when I was going to talk about how stupid the chat is all the time.
Speaking of being live, I don't belong up here.
Oh yes. Sorry, that's right.
Elevate the man. There we go.
Elevated. I started. I think. What did Mo say? I started 40 seconds in. Is that what he
okay.
said? If I lose, I have to howl Rob. And yeah, I started. I started within the first 40 seconds. So I don't think you have to howl Rob there. Skip Edwards is here. Great to see you.
That's good.
Skip.
Todd's Truth has an invite, so we will probably see Todd's Truth on the panel today. That'll be
Right
that's
on.
exciting. There's Dean. Nerd is the word. G'day. VIPs in the house. Hal CG Hat Group. There you go. I'm representing.
Very good.
Bandito's in the chat. He says, "Hail and well met. Great to see you, my friend." Caddick Neutral. He says, "Howdy, guys. On my way home now."
Great.
Good to
By the
hear,
way,
Ryan Cardinal. Yes.
What do you think, Camel and chat, of Mike's new haircut? I think it's
Oh.
well done. I'm calling out that he's hiding it.
Yeah. It's
You-
high and tight.
It's the professional dad haircut.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's kind of like utilitarian. There's not much
Don't-
style. It's just like, all right, it's short now.
It's out of
It's
the way.
it's the I used to shave my head kind of haircut, but now I'm older. I'm not so I'm not that crazy young guy with the shaved head anymore. So I have to have a little bit on top.
Yeah.
But don't say anything too bad about it because my wife did it. So,
Wow. Yeah. Sure. It's the greatest thing that I've seen.
But
back to hiding it. Okay.
well, no, like I said, people have been calling me out saying, "Hey, come on, this is the Hat Group show. Where's the hat?" So
My hair is too well coiffed for a hat today.
I know. I don't want to. I wouldn't ruin your
I
hair.
got the nice '60s NASA haircut.
Yes, you've been
It looked
working
like
all
I'm
day
landing a moon
on the
finally.
rockets with Nazis.
landing a rocket on the moon or something. Yeah, talking about early particle physics.
Evening, Antoine. I borrow Andres. Great to see you.
I borrow. What?
I was just gonna leave that. Doctor Whom. Has everyone seen Blue's name today? Is Doctor Whom. He's trying to subliminally.
I nicked that from somebody in the chat in Clint's stream.
Nice,
So because
yeah.
they were talking about grammar and somebody just typed in Doctor.
Clearly, it's directed towards me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. So I borrow ideas. Hello. Metal Movies and Brewskis is here. Mr. Mitch Rockage. I always think there's a Rockridge in there, but it's Rockage. How you going?
Rokage, I
Who
think.
else? Rockage. Mitch Rockage.
Rokage.
Lord Finatra. I was hanging out with Finatra the other night on his stream. He had a stream and we were just talking nonsense and I was coloring and yeah, it was fun. That was after a stream with Oz and Ethan and Risey was on there and my God, Risey. That's all I can say about that. And
You
we already
worship
said
him as
hello
a-
to
as a-
Leroy.
You
No,
worship
I do
Risey
not.
as a good- okay.
I do
all right.
not
Leroy.
worship Risey as a god. He's gone to bed. Don't worry. Don't bother saying hello to Leroy. Who else? Steve Worst is here. Yeah, you need a hat. Yeah, I do.
I have a beef with Leroy though.
We can talk about that.
Oh, good.
No, Bancroft. There's a lot of chatting here. Why am I always? It's always so good to see. Hello, all you happy people. It says Hex Allen Comics. Hello, my friend. Edwin's here as well. He says, "How peeps?" Anyone ever brought up the fact that Camel Moon's setup looks like a waiting room at a dentist's office? Yes.
No, you're the
That has been
first
brought up
person in the history of COMICSGATE.
many times. Steve Wurster says he has a tablecloth like that.
Like
And
this
Mo
or
Big
like
says,
this?
like, I presume like your checkerboard. And Mo Big says, "Hail Grifter Moon." Who else is here? I think
Mo
we've
Biggs
got
is funny.
Anthony Figaro. Great to see you here. Says how Mike and how chat. Absolutely. Been chatting a little bit with Anthony in the DMs lately. It's really cool. I'm happy that I met that guy. What is Mel saying? I can read your mind, Camel Moon. What was that in reference to?
I think it was the haircut that you have. Or it was the haircut that I have. It was something about hair.
No, Mo, she had ample material to work with. My hair, it's like a cat. It's like a big, shaggy cat just sitting on the top of my head, and she has to get in there and hack at it. It's a labor of love. I mean, you wouldn't do it otherwise. Jim says, Death Swan stretch goals met. 10,000 5-pack trading cards, 15k patch. Well, there you go. We all get a patch.
So we all got a patch. Very good.
Nice.
Excellent. That's what I can wear on my head when we get that. Poland's in the chat. Albino Thunderbuns is in the chat. And Sim is in the chat. Fantastic. All
We've
right.
got about, what, 25 people?
That's really good.
People, put it on the Twitter. Let's get some more people.
Let's get some more in here. Let's get
It's a
some more in
Friday
here and
night.
get this
We're gonna
party
party.
started.
Dude,
I'm
let's
gonna,
get albino. Thank
If
you.
we're gonna party, let's get the party man himself
young Doc
in here.
Brown.
We're going back to
Marty,
the future.
Marty, it's your kids, Marty.
I always wonder where he gets these wonderful
Toys.
gadgets and gizmos. How you going, Joe?
Going great. Nice hat.
You like it?
I do.
It's a flex fit. It was actually embroidered. I don't know if you can see. This is what I used to do when I was a younger man. What are you laughing at?
No one cares. It's a plastic. It was
All right.
$16.97 on
It
Amazon.
was made
Made in
in
China.
no, Dominican Republic actually.
Oh, good.
No, I was going to say that I used to get these made. That's what I'm wondering. Everyone's saying, "Oh, hats are so expensive." You just buy these blank and then take it to an embroiderer and stitch things onto it. It's not difficult. See this here? Where is it? God, I hate doing things backwards. See that little embroidery there? You can't really see it. That's how cool I thought I was when I was a younger man. I'm going to put my logo onto hats, and I'm going to put black on black because I'm so cool. I don't even care. If anyone sees it, and even if they do, if they can read it.
What's
But I
younger? Last year?
Oh,
6 weeks ago.
it is really impossible to do this in StreamYards because your brain is so used to having a mirror that it's really impossible to use the screen to do anything.
Wait, am I pointing to you? No, I have to point that way to you.
It's stupid. I did this hat maybe in about 2005-ish, I reckon.
Oh wow, it's a 15-year-old hat.
It's an old hat. Man, they stick together.
Yeah, you can tell though, right? Because it's curved, and the curved brim hasn't been in for a very long time.
How'd you get the Graveyard Shift logo
yes,
in 2007?
Oh, the mysteries. I went back in time. I enlisted the help of Joe here. We jumped in his... What car do you drive, Joe?
The Fiat.
A gremlin.
He drives a Gremlin. And
The pride of the American Motor Company.
Yeah. Well, you need to go with a cheaper car when you're inventing time travel. It takes a lot of money.
That's right. That flux capacitor don't come cheap.
It's like $97,000.
hello, David L. David L said hello on Twitter the other day, or maybe earlier today. So how are you going, my friend? Great to see you here. Mitch says in '05 he was like 3 years old or something. I don't believe that, Mitch. You're not that young. You're not that young. I know you said you wanted to talk about Dan Shaheen, Camel Moon, but
You know,
may
Yeah.
I present to you something even more important? Broader
you could
scope.
try. You could try. That was pretty important.
Beer?
No, this like we're talking of major importance in the culture war. The you know the intrusion of the parasitic intersectionality mindset onto the important what would you call them? Like these are important cultural icons. Mo knows what I'm talking about. Mo knows. No, the one franchise. Mo, what's the one franchise that's out there that I hold close to my heart, that I
My
am
Little
a really big fan of?
Rats.
You're actually getting there. You're actually getting pretty close.
She-Ra? Oh, wow. Barbie?
Barbie.
Okay. I was
Barbie.
close.
You
Closer
were
than I-
close. Yeah, look, he knew. I didn't even have to wait. He had it already locked up. He knew. Oh yeah, we could talk about that as well. I just saw that before Alan, Mitch, about Alan Moore saying comics can just go jump
Didn't
off
he
a
do that like
cliff.
6 months ago?
Yeah, he does that often.
Yeah.
But yeah, Barbie. Exactly right, Todd's truth. I have always been a big fan of Barbie ever since my daughter started watching their shows. They're really, there's a lot of subtext in these new Barbie shows, and they're entertaining for adults, and they're just good stories, and that's hard to find in today's world. And so I was very disappointed to see this. I don't think this is from the show. I think it's from like a blog or something like that. But well, let's just watch it, and we can EFAP it as it's called. This is Barbie here on the right, in case anyone doesn't know. This one, she's been a regular since I think the '60s, in different iterations. My daughter has both of these as dolls, but here we go.
Remember when we were going to join that French honor club at school? Well, I made a perfect score on the entrance test, but when the teacher, who didn't know me at all, gave me my results, he told me I only did well because I got lucky. He said he...
Why do you think she got lucky? Why do you think he said that, Camel Moon? Awful teacher.
Affirmative action? I don't know.
I think he saw her under the bleachers with the high school quarterback.
Maybe she was hanging out with Ken. Maybe.
She got lucky. Or maybe...
Cowabunga Dave says, "I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world."
My other guess would be that she studied, but he didn't believe that she studied.
Yeah, maybe. Steve, well, these are the teenage versions, so they're still living at home. They're slightly younger than the later Barbie. God, I know way too much about Barbie. I know all the names of all the characters. I don't know this black girl though.
Is the show like Sex and the City for little girls?
No, it's a cool show though. It's just it's a cool show for girls aged probably about 5 to 12. That's the thing. That was the surprising thing. I thought, okay, this is just going to be some rubbish that I'm going to be forced to kind of have to listen to in the background. But it's actually a really well-made show, so that's why.
You're like a brony for Barbie.
I'm looking that up online. Bronies for Barbie.
Ken was hanging out with the professor. Yeah.
Well, I'm in suspense.
Okay, here we go.
Speak French that well.
What? You speak French better than all of us. Why didn't you just stay in the club and prove I'm wrong?
Is it not playing? It's stuck. Hang on. It's frozen. Internet. Why is nothing working today? Why is this doing this to me? Hang on, let me refresh it. I hope I'm still live.
Tell Mel to get off the
going to
computer.
join that French honor club at...
Yeah, tell the kids to stop watching all that
This.
TV. Go do something. Go do something more useful.
That well.
What? You speak French better than all of us. Why didn't you just stay in the club and prove I'm wrong?
Oh, dude, you're watching it off of Twitter? It's
I
gonna.
don't want to have to constantly.
That's the only
prove and
place I have
reprove
it.
Myself. He supported you right from the beginning and didn't support me. Usually, when I talk about these things, people make excuses. They say things like, "Oh, well, maybe you should have had a permit for selling on the beach." But those are just excuses.
They're
People
just
did these
excuses,
things to me
guys.
because I was black, and they made the wrong assumptions about me.
And they don't
Look
make
at these.
those.
Look at her. Like, she's black, yeah?
Mhm.
They live in...
A Malibu dream house.
Yeah, like, and you know, she lives in that suburb as well. You know, they're
Yeah, yeah.
neighbors. The situation they're living in, like, this could not be more privileged. We're looking right now at two of some of the most privileged people, you know, in this fantasy America.
Rich girls.
Rich girls. I mean, yeah, they're total
Well, you
rich
also
girls.
have to assume, right, that they're going to some type of private school, or that they're going to, you know, they must live in like some 90210 area code. I mean, if it's Barbie, right? Wouldn't you assume that? I mean, she has her own cruise ship.
She has her own everything, and that's in this show too.
So they're like, it feels like they're injecting politics where it doesn't really seem like it would actually make a lot of sense.
They're injecting, like, it's like, you know, when she says, "Okay, bye, Barbie. Thanks for hanging out with me today." She has to catch 12 buses to go back to the, you know, back to the bad part of town.
Yeah,
Like
there's no such thing as Barbie ghetto.
Exactly.
There's no project housing. There's no Barbie project housing dream house going
Well,
on.
maybe, I mean, maybe there's like a shed out by the third pool. The help
Yeah. That she has to go live in.
The
She
Barbie
lives in the
dream
stable.
housing project.
Yeah, it lives in the stable with the ponies.
Yeah, Mo, the in this Barbie show, Barbie does it does like a video thing, and like, you know, a video diary, and so that's just this part of it. But I think this is purely just for a blog or something.
But even look at the clothes. I mean, it looks like they both shop on Rodeo Drive.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
There's a Barbie man.
There's a Barbie man.
Hey now.
I'm on my way. I've already got the black T-shirt.
A real life Ken, if I ever saw one.
Dress to impress.
I like the necklace on the outside of the collar shirt. That always means class.
Yeah, with the turtleneck too.
Very 80s.
I like Skip Edwards said maybe she's a cam girl.
Yeah, so this poor black girl is, you know, whenever anyone you know, says anything to her, you know, that's purely in her interpretation as well. This is all her own interpretation. You know, they're just making excuses because she's black. No one's actually ever said anything to her. Apparently, it's just, you know, whenever anything bad happens to me, we all know the reason.
Do we? Let's hear what the teacher actually said to her again.
He said,
"Can you move your a little back further?"
Let's go back here.
Stay in the club and prove I'm wrong.
I don't want to have to constantly prove and reprove myself. He supported you right from the beginning and didn't support me.
I think it's further here.
Got lucky.
He says she passed the test because she got lucky. That's the statement, that she's got her.
And I knew you couldn't speak French that well. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe the teacher just has the hots for Barbie.
Maybe the teacher is just rude because he's an idiot, you know?
Blue, were you about to say maybe he's just rude because he's French?
Oh.
That would make
Sorry,
more
Mel. I should have, yeah. Maybe he's rude because he's French. There we go.
I knew I couldn't speak French that well.
What? You speak French better than all of us. Why didn't you just stay in the
What?
club and prove I'm wrong?
What?
You're the bestest.
I don't want to have to constantly.
I love
prove
this.
and
That's just, I
reprove
don't want to have to
myself.
constantly
He
prove
supported
and
you right
reprove
from the
myself.
beginning
That's
and
what
didn't
everyone
Prove yourself
does,
once.
has to
You
do.
don't need to
When I
read.
talk
Just
about these
do
things,
it one
people
time.
make excuses.
He should
They
know
say
I'm
things like,
awesome
"Oh, well,
every
maybe you had
day."
a permit
Yeah.
for selling on the beach.
Twice on
But those are
weekends.
just excuses. People did these things to me because I was black, and they made the wrong assumptions about me.
And they don't make those assumptions about white people like me.
No,
Fair.
never.
Sorry,
Because
but
that
okay,
means
can
that
you
white-
pause? But like the the irony about like they're making these assumptions about me. That whole statement's a fucking assumption.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
I was about to say that.
It's like how clueless can you be? You have no facts whatsoever. They're making assumptions about me. What do you think that means?
Maybe he heard her speak French, thought her pronunciation was garbage, and thought she didn't speak French that well, and then saw the written exam and went, "Oh, wow, I'm surprised."
Okay.
Oh yeah, Sesame Street is gone. We don't allow.
Oh yeah, for
Victoria
years
to watch Sesame Street. That's a no go.
they were lost years ago. Yeah.
Like it got to the point where anytime like they expunged all white people from Sesame Street. That they haven't been regulars on Sesame Street in a while, but you know they would have white guests on there, you know, celebrities or whatever. And it got to the point where, you know, almost every time they get a white person, a white comedian or actor or whatever on to do a little bit, it would be some kind of you know, it would have some sort of apologetic slant to counting something or doing it got really bad the last time I looked.
They also had like I don't know if it was Oscar the Grouch, but they had like a Trump stand-in, and he lived in a garbage can or something. I'm not kidding. And I remember watching this.
Stopped watching before that.
I remember watching this right around the time of the last election, and I was just like, yeah, I was super liberal at the time too. But even then, I was just like, you know what the fuck? It's the president. Like, at what point are we just going to keep lowering the bar? Because, you know, whoever lowers it, then, you know, you change the playing field. And then there's nothing to aspire to after that. You keep, like, if you're going to fight fire with fire, you still need to be better than your opposition. And, or at least from some type of moral standpoint. As soon as you lose that, which is exactly what you see with, like, Antifa, you lose the entire party, right? I mean, you lose your sort of code of ethics. And I was just like, what the fuck are they, like, Sesame Street? Like, I mean, it just felt like indoctrination. It was really kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, I forgot to send Todd's Truth the link. I'm sorry about that, Todd. I thought I had. Who did I send it to? That's the question. If I didn't send it to Todd.
To whom did I send it? Got one in.
Well, we know we can replace Doctor Who with Todd, that's for sure.
I'm sorry, Todd. I'm sending it to you now.
Quickly.
Maybe you sent it to Todd's phone booth.
Maybe some other Todd, some random Todd got it. Okay.
Todd Wilkes Booth?
All right, so
I love that
send
guy.
it to Mr. Struth. So Barbie has advantages that she didn't earn because she's white, and this other girl has disadvantages that she doesn't deserve just because she's black. We're on the same page there.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, all allegedly. And this is all gleaned because someone told her that she got lucky that she passed a test, and someone asked for a permit because she was selling something on the beach.
Are they
It
talking?
all seems very legit.
Are they talking on Barbie's cam, or are they
Yes.
on the black girl's?
This is Barbie's bedroom in the Barbie dream
not
house.
the OnlyFans. Okay.
No.
An advantage that they didn't earn, and black people get a disadvantage that they don't deserve.
Exactly. It's really serious. Some people even get hurt when others think the wrong things about them. That's exactly why people are marching. Because when enough of us stand together, people pay attention.
Right.
Right.
Because when we don't say anything, we're just letting it continue.
Well,
So that's the
Wait,
that's
okay.
the anti-racist part
This
of
is
it.
the
You
best
can't
part.
just be against it. You have to actually join in as well.
The best part is that when Barbie says "Let it continue," this is animated too, right? She like low key slants her eyes over like to look for approval.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, watch it. It's hilarious.
And when you do that, you kind of have to bow your head a little bit.
All right,
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
go back. So
right? You gonna stay for dinner?
yeah.
Hey, the Mooner knows his animation.
I really need this black friend. I can't lose this black friend. Look at the house that I live in. I can't get by in this progressive world without having a black friend. Todd's
It's nice
Truth,
to have-
welcome.
Yeah, she's like, it's nice to have a black girl who enters through the front door.
Without my diversity shield, they might target me next.
Oh man!
Oh my god.
All right, let's. Okay, we're looking at Barbie for the approval. Look.
And black people get a disadvantage that they don't deserve.
Exactly. It's really serious. Some people even get hurt when others think the wrong things about them. That's exactly why people are marching.
Wrong think.
Because when enough of us stand together, people pay attention.
Right. Because when we don't
Here it
say
is.
anything, we're just letting it continue.
That's helpful. It's important to keep reading and learning more about Black history. And if someone is being treated unfairly, stand up for that person. If we all work together, we can make a big difference.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this with me today. With us.
Oh my god. Like
It's not easy, but it's necessary.
I saw yesterday a meme, right? And it was like, this is I don't, whatever, the average typical American. They get in their Lyft, they go to Starbucks, they complain on their iPhone that capitalism is garbage. And it's like, these are like the basic millennials, and it's like they don't even understand the premise. Like if Barbie genuinely like cared so much, she wouldn't be in that fucking $1 million dream house.
Oh, it would have been great if she, after that. Hey Todd, how you going? Sorry, we brought
Good.
you in a little late there.
That's
Thanks
okay.
Thanks for coming back. Thanks for coming on.
So I wonder who got the link.
I don't know. I just checked, and thankfully I'm not seeing any weird links send out. So I don't know. I was in a rush, and I thought I.
Well, I
sent it
let
to
the
you.
chat know if Todd's rotten tooth tried to crash our party, we kick him right out of here to make room for you.
Yeah.
I wonder if the next one will be, Barbie, and that's why not only do they need to march, but they really need to riot and throw rocks through the windows of the local businesses, and just recently, there was a whole bunch of them yelling with megaphones out the front of the house.
But not in our neighborhood, right? That's
Yeah.
okay. As long as it's,
Yeah.
3-4 area or zip codes away, we should be okay.
Skip wants to know, is that Todd from the Rob Arnold streams? I presume. I mean, there's only one Todd, isn't there? It's the true Todd. Todd's Truth. Oh God, yeah. So that's I will now have to keep a close eye on Barbie because I mean, like I said, that's just an internet thing that they've whipped up quickly. Obviously, it's
It's
a
literally one
response.
take. There's no camera movement.
Well, I mean, if you're going to make a quick animation, you'd make it from there. They've got all that stuff already preloaded. But yeah, just oh my God, can we have anything left for our kids? Anything?
No.
No, pretty much. You have kids, Todd?
No.
Good job.
I was gonna say that.
You're helping the world.
No, have kids. We need us to have kids. We need more
Todd's
people like
genetics
us.
out there with
Yeah,
his
if
mentality.
if you get kids, have them watch Hail Salad at like 6, and maybe they'll grow up right.
That would be 6 p.m. after they reach age 21.
Sure.
When you say Todd's genetics, you're talking about the the mashup between Ethan Van Sciver and Dan Frager, yeah.
Yes, we need the genetics that help enable the nature side of the nature versus nurture debate. Let's just keep the nature going here. We got a good man. Just I don't know, have a kid.
Well, Todd got the better end of the genetic stick. I got stuck with being the love child of Clint Stoker and Micah Curtis.
I don't see a lot of love in them creating you, but there you are.
Love child, hate child, call it what you will.
I like
I'm
this
still
kid.
bitter.
I think I would be the love child of Tim Pool and Peter Sammetti.
Speaking of love childs, we had it pointed out to. I had it pointed out to me. Oh no! Don't tell me I've lost it. Oh, I have. Oh, that sucks. I had it in my history. Oh, damn it! I was going to go into a bit there about we had the 656 comics guys on, and it's Javier, yeah, pointed out that I apparently look a lot like a particular Mexican, or is it no, French football player, and it was pretty spooky. But now I've just gone back into my history and it's disappeared. So yeah, so much for that.
Why don't you Google French football and Michael Bancroft and see what
No, it was a very French name.
Yeah, a French guy playing in for a Mexican team.
Yeah, maybe if anyone knows who's the French guy playing on a Mexican team, if you're into soccer, football, whatever it's called, maybe you'll know that. But Todd, you heard that I've been at the doctor all morning, and you said it sounds like I needed a beer. And now that you've joined us, I think it's around about that time.
You can get it cutting a log or walking the dog. You can get it any old how. Matter of fact, I got it now. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. Victoria Bitter.
There we go. Did you like that bit where it had? Oh, good. Did you like that bit where the wife came out and gave her man the beer because he was out there working hard? Just how it should be.
And you know what?
And a big bottle too.
Quite frankly, anytime I think about dropping a log, I think of Vic.
That was well played. I like that.
Blues found it. All right, here we go. This is me as a French soccer player in Mexico.
Ah.
Huh?
I'm so confused. You're like
you called my name?
Bancroft's like, why did I frost my tips? What a stupid idea.
I know. What year is it?
He's looking in the
1997.
He's looking in the mirror after the dye job was finished.
Yeah,
he's like
W show.
Yeah,
I make all this money, and this is what I get as a haircut. I don't understand.
I paid $300 for this.
All right, I'm gonna read the bottle cap and see what wisdom it has for us.
You have Snapple facts on your
yeah, pretty much. And sometimes they're just statements, and sometimes they're questions. This one, it looks like a question.
Is there a question
for you guys? Which Crocs are more dangerous? Which Crocs are more dangerous? Freshies or salties?
The pinkies.
The ones you put on your
That's what it
feet.
says.
Yeah, those are the pinkies.
Salties.
The salties, absolutely the salties.
Why?
We even because they are. You saw that video the other.
Salt water just gives them a bad attitude.
Yeah, they're bigger and
say
meaner.
that they're salty.
Yeah, they're salty.
Yeah, they're salty, exactly. Yeah, they're salt mining. Yeah, you saw that video from a couple of weeks ago. It was going around of the guys working in a stream or something, and there's just this crocodile just kind of hanging around, and they're just pushing him away, saying "Get out of it!" like he's a bit of a naughty dog. A massive crocodile too.
That was a fresh or a salt?
That was a fresh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was watching it. I was like, this fresh almost seemed, not that I know, but I was like, the crocodile, it just seems like, like kind of an annoying dog. I was like kind of surprised it wasn't eating them.
Yeah, they were treating it like a chihuahua that's tugging on your shoelace.
But then I was like, maybe these guys, Australians are just so badass, they don't care. I was like, all right, good for you guys.
Yeah, I thought if that was the salt water, man, they would have taken his arm off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're massive. They're massive.
One that
and
size,
they're
it'd rip your arm off.
I'll find a big saltwater crocodile to show you guys.
Oh, man, those things get 12, 13, even 15 feet long.
Oh, wow.
All right. There used to be one in the when I lived up in Cairns, one at the local friggin' crocodile park, and he was massive. They called him Big Mac. And the thing about these guys is they don't die by
thousands of years.
That's the thing. Like they eventually just get so big that they can't eat enough to because they just keep growing and
wow,
growing and
that's
growing.
great. I never even heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
So they don't have
they can't
like,
eat enough to be able to survive.
What if you just kept feeding it, like just forever, just kept feeding it? Like,
I guess you could do that. Here's one here. There's one coming up to take a bite on the side of the boat.
oh my god! Like, so what is the longest living one that they know of?
It's in Asia. I think it's like Thailand or somewhere. They found one that was like, I think it's like over 20 feet.
Yeah.
It's a huge one, and I think it was in like Thailand or the Philippines or somewhere is the biggest one.
But they don't massive. Do they have a year on it?
I don't know if they were, but it took like 20, 30 people to move it.
Yeah, look at the size of this thing. That's a lady too there, I'm pretty sure. You see the lady parts down there.
I see a black girl.
No, I'm looking at Barbie.
You're showing the Barbie girls talking about lady parts down there.
Maybe they have like
That's not good. That's not good.
That is a
disavow.
right
disavow. Hang on.
Not the kind of Barbie dolls they had in my day.
hang on.
Apparently they live forever.
Whoops.
When did they start making them
How
anatomically
did it
correct?
go? The Barbies. Okay, there you go. Can you see that one now? Why am I...
Yeah.
It's hard to do this on a friggin' laptop. Yeah, look at the size of that thing. Yeah, these things just eat people.
And why is she right there?
Well, let me see if I can.
She's in that protective little dome.
Image in new tab, so I can zoom in. God,
Oh yeah, that looks safe.
Yeah.
Is that working now? No,
You
I'm
couldn't
doing
pay
Chrome
me
tab.
enough.
Good lord.
I don't care if I had a lightsaber.
Oh, I would do that.
Goodbye, Mike. It's been real.
How much lead paint did you eat as a kid?
All of it, just gallons.
I licked it. Stefani, this is a saltwater crocodile. You'll find them in the North Australia, around Queensland and the Northern Territory, and up there in those regions, wherever, up in Indonesia or something like that, or Thailand or something. And yeah, they get pretty bloody big. So there's her. You can see, I mean, he could just eat you whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is like that thing in Hook, that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's massive. And these are the aggressive ones, and they seem to have a taste for German tourists.
Really?
Mm.
They like sauerkraut.
They like precision.
The German tourists, they love Australia. Germans love Australia, and they come over here. They love to go up to the north and get a tan, and they just, for whatever reason, don't seem to abide by all the signs that are everywhere saying, "Do not go into the water here." This is crocodile area.
They loved France in the 1940s. How did they express their love for Australia?
They just come over here and drink lots of beer.
Okay, well that's great.
And then a percentage of them get eaten by crocodiles.
I think we've discovered,
and that's why they go swimming where they're not supposed to.
Well, I
They
think
drink
we've
too much.
discovered what the crocodile's interested in. It's all the beer inside the tourists.
Well, thankfully, I have enough Polish in me to deal with the Germans I've known. And the Germans I've known, they would ignore your sign if they said, you know what, the grammar isn't correct. So I don't have to obey that. And then they get eaten.
Yeah, they'd say like, get out, Crocs here. They'd be like, das ist sentence fragments. I'm going through.
We know bratwurst tastes better when it's marinated in beer, so maybe Crocs think that humans are the same way.
I've known 2 Germans like that.
Yeah. I remember in Germany, I lived there for 6 months, and I started to feel really isolated, and I found out it was because this is sort of before the internet was a real, kind of social media and everything kind of thing, and it was because I didn't have a TV. I felt disconnected from the outside world, so I got myself a TV, and I put it on, and I'm flicking through. I'm looking for, for something to watch, and I don't know if you guys are aware, European free-to-air television. It's the most depressing thing you can ever watch. It really is god awful. It doesn't matter where it is, like Spain, France, Germany. It's just awful. So I found The Simpsons. I'm like, oh, great. I love The Simpsons. So I put on The Simpsons and I'm watching it. And it's like they purposefully stripped out all of the humor on purpose. And I'm like, it's like they just like destroy the character of Homer. They just strip out everything that made him funny. And I think they did it because they were like, oh, well, Germans won't know this reference. But in the way that they did that, I mean, they just stripped everything out of it. And it was just god awful. So anytime anyone says like the stereotype, Germans have no sense of humor, you're like, yep. Like that's exactly it. I mean, they know how to drink, but I don't know if they know how to laugh.
I might agree with that. My wife is German, and she never laughs at anything I say.
I wonder if their
might be different.
I wonder if their sense of humor is buried deeply and needs to be activated with copious amounts of alcohol.
Could be. Yeah, because they're fun to go out with.
To the top.
They're fun to go out with, but no VIP. This was years ago. This was back in 2003-ish, I think. And it was an older episode. I remember it was one in particular that I remember was there's a scene where Homer is telling someone on a phone about the time he went to go see Mr. T, and he waited too long, and then he missed Mr. T, and it really upset him. And it's just like, that's Homer Simpson, he cares about Mr. T. That's kind of who his character is. And they swapped it out for like Claudia Schiffer or something. As if Homer would care to go and look at a beautiful woman. That's just not who he is.
Yeah, that's like Al Bundy.
Yeah, he wants to go
He would
see
move
Mr.
her aside
T.
to look at Mr. T.
Yeah, he wants to go see Mr. T or a beautiful beer.
Yeah,
exactly.
Or a good donut.
Yeah, or beautiful donut. Good.
That's just one one example of one thing that I remember. But man, they stripped that show to the bone and just took everything out of it.
It's a good point though, because I remember there's like over 500 episodes of The Simpsons. There's only one episode that I know of or can remember where Homer is like slightly interested in another woman, and it's in like the first or second season, and they never did it again.
Yeah. Yeah, and I knew a German exchange student. She was in... Can't remember if she's in her last year of high school or her first year of college. She was living with my cousins for about 6 months. And she had a great sense of humor. So maybe it hadn't been, beaten out of her yet by the German social structure.
They're an interesting people. Europe is really interesting, I find. It's completely unlike anything, probably elsewhere, where you've got people that all look pretty much the same. They do speak different languages, but they go to the cities, they're pretty similar. But man, they're just so different as people. The French from the Germans, from the English. You couldn't get more kind of different people that all sort of look the same if you took all their clothes off and didn't hear them speak.
And to this day, I don't understand who thought the EU would be a good idea with such different cultures in all those countries.
Me, I'm one of those idiots. I was like, yeah, great idea, let's do it. And I'm so...
Why are we getting the Germans and French to try and take their clothes off together? What I think I missed a beat. Anyway, I looked up.
Have you never been to Europe? That's what you do when you're in Europe. You try and get the Germans and the French and the Spanish and the Italians to take their clothes off. I mean, that's what you do. That's the point of going there.
I looked up German humor, found a few things, and of course, there's Pickawedia, and types of humor for Germany. The first one they list is Schadenfreude.
Well, that's kind of funny. Just laughing at others' misfortune.
Yeah.
I do love a bit of Schadenfreude. Yeah, I do love a bit of that.
I said it so badly. Schadenfreude.
It's funny because it's a word that there isn't even a translation for in any other language. I mean, it's like it's its own thing.
It takes a phrase to try and convey the idea.
Yeah, right. Because that's what we call it here. It's the same word.
Yeah,
nothing else. It doesn't translate. Yeah, it's funny.
So, Will, is your wife like first generation, second generation American, or
she goes back. I mean, because like she's from Wisconsin, and that there's a lot of German people in Wisconsin. I mean, you ever see what's that stupid movie with Leo? the Revenant or something like that. So
Revenant,
there was a bunch of pelters and these types of things that happen, and she kind of comes from a long line of that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know why she doesn't find things funny, but she
She's
does.
German. And that's the thing. The French have an amazing sense of humor, and they make amazing comedies that get copied. You know, that's the thing you don't understand until you go to France, or you meet a French person who will tell you probably on the first time you ever meet them. Did you know that this was French and this was French and the Americans stole it? And it's true. It's true. So many great comedies and movies and music, so much great music, was originally French, and the rest
still
of
into
us
the French or the English.
Yeah. Hello, Poland. You're a bit loud there.
Hi, Poland.
We're hearing
I'm
some
loud?
some gain or something.
Speaking of unfunny countries,
They've never been accused of being funny, but stalwart, I think, is a good one.
There you go. There you go.
Is it better now?
It's perfect. Francisca Ark says sup familia.
So, hey, Michael.
Yes.
I sent you a DM, and I think I'm 3 for 3 now on Hail Mary guest as of today.
Oh, really? You said feel free to ignore this tag. Just going for another Hail Mary. Oh yeah, is it what's happening? What's happening? Can you say it, or are we going to wait? Like, what is it?
I think we should wait.
Works? Let's wait.
I think we should wait. It should be a surprise.
Yep.
But
yeah. All right. Awesome. Okay.
Tonight's case of blue balls brought to you by Poland.
That's what I do. I mean, look, I've got the blue watch on, the blue hat, blue shirt. That's what I do, guys. That's what I do.
All right. While we've hit this natural, so that's cool, man. That's very cool. Thank you. It's amazing when you just you start a show like this and you meet people, and then you've got people out there like your super agents. I've got the original one here, Poland. Skip Edwards is my other super agent. Bandito's also found someone who wants to come on the show. This is all really cool, exciting stuff. And when it happens, it's really fun to do. But because it won't happen right now, we'll move on. But in this natural lull, I thought let's do the old Ethan Van Sciver thing and just very quickly look at some campaigns.
we're pitching. Great.
Well, a little quick ones. I'm just noticing here I don't have Hal Salad up there.
No, of course.
We'll get it up.
You forgot who I was. There's no.
I need to remember Camel Moon.
Did you say Hail Caesar? What was that?
Yeah.
Did I?
No, you said
Hail something. I didn't quite catch it.
I heard
it'll come to me eventually.
Hell salad. Yeah.
Salad.
I did a thing with Adam Lawson of the Kill Journal where we did just sort of like a cross promotional thing, and he's really helped me push up to close to 600 backers, and that is a thing that the exchange rate cannot take away from me. And once I hit 600 backers, unless someone refunds, which would be a shame. It'll be 600 backers, and that is, man, that's going to feel really good when it gets there.
So that'll be great.
3 off that. I mean, that's just it's over 100 since when we first ended. That's crazy.
How long has it been?
It's been a couple of months at least. Definitely a couple of months, maybe 2 or 3.
That's some nice growth there.
Yeah, definitely. I really couldn't be happier. Couldn't have asked for more. I'm going to be sending out that update. It's going to have a breakdown of everything that I've been up to in the meantime since the last update. And I'm hoping, I should. The printer says I'm going to have that print, this water print here, all printed so I can test the colors and everything. It won't be the 7.5 foot long version, unfortunately. It'll just be the standard Yeah, we all heard about that. Won't be the 88.25-inch wide gloss print.
Oh, come on, that'd look good on my whole wall over here.
It would. You can wrap it around things. Might be hard for people if they want to frame it to find a frame, but
Bancroft introduces the mural to CG campaigns.
No, you put it on the wall that you can see slant down. You know, when you're outside the door, so you can see it normally from the next room. That's
there you go. Yeah, like they do on on sports grounds. You gotta look at it from an angle.
Yeah,
that's an idea. You could be onto something there.
Now, Mike, I'm not suggesting you should mention in your update that you hired an editor, but just in case you do mention it, I think it would be really important that everyone knows he's a snappy dresser.
I will make sure to remember that. Maybe I'll even take a screen grab. Hold on a sec,
Joe.
And apparently Joe knows where the flux capacitor is too.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
He invented it, or maybe he didn't invent it. He improved upon it.
What are you doing by editing? Are you just like proofreading, or?
No, that's definitely a part of it, but so that would be the copy editing, which is for me the easiest part of it to do. And then there's also story editing, which is looking at the structure of it and making sure that everything works in terms of character development and plot and pacing and all that stuff. But then with the Lucent, because it's part one of a multi-volume story, and it also just happens to be a very layered story. So a big part of
how he sighs when he says that? It's like layered.
It's like a 7-layer.
He's like, I have to read the whole thing.
No. It's like a 7-layered Mexican dip. Our friends from 656 Comics will appreciate this. You've got 7 layers of dip, refried beans, guacamole, sour cream, cheese, onions, etc., etc. You got all these different flavors that are all separate, but you put them all together and they work together to make this fantastic flavor bonanza in your mouth. Well, the Lucent is somewhat like a 7-layer Mexican dip. The thing is, you can't introduce all 7 layers in the first part. So you introduce a couple of the layers, and then you hint at maybe one of the other layers. And then in volume 2, you continue with those first 2 layers. You introduce the reading audience to layer number 3 and 4. Maybe you hint at number 5. And then you continue on volume by volume. So in all seriousness, a lot of what I'm doing at this stage of the game has been to have Mike break down the entire backstory, which literally covers tens of thousands of years and involves multiple continents, and it's an incredibly epic story. But the thing with volume 1, which is what this is he really wants to present it as a standalone story with a beginning, middle, and end, and yet it also introduces you to this much larger world with a much larger story. So a lot of what I'm doing is helping him to recognize how a new reader is going to approach this volume 1 story on its own, but then also how to lay in the seeds that he's been planting, which will continue to grow volume by volume. So it's the way I look at it is it's kind of all types of editing wrapped up into one job.
Yeah, and originally we'd said, I could pay you, Joe, in helping you out with art. And then once we did, I think just the first meeting, we both just got this sense like, yeah, that ain't gonna work. Like I don't have the time to be able to give you enough art to be able to pay you for the amount of time that you're investing in this, because it's there's just so much that goes into it. So we had to actually work out like Joe will get paid now.
So you did do some favors for him.
Some favors? No. We've got a. I read through. Joe's. He's like set up a contract for us. It's all going to be legit. Joe's like a full on contracted editor now, and yeah, it's to think that I was going to do it without an editor, this kind of story. Yeah, like Joe's laughing because it is pretty laughable. You know, even after I think the second or third meeting, you know, we were finding spots that I had to like, what do we say, like put a pin in it and go back. And I was, you know, lying there in bed, kind of running through the story in my head for hours on end, trying to you know, figure out some things that Joe caught that I hadn't seen yet.
Yeah, it's no exaggeration to say that we have put in, let me think here. We have put in about 15 hours so far of just going over what the whole story is, and then how volume 1 fits into it, and how the characters in volume 1 are introduced to the reader, and how much the reader needs to know to become invested in them so that they'll want to, you know, follow their character arcs throughout further volumes. But at the same time, we can't overwhelm the reader with information. Volume 1 cannot be an information dump. It has to be a self-sustaining story with a beginning, middle, and end, and it has to have enough information that the reader understands, for the most part, what's going on. There's at the heart, the story is a mystery thriller, so there will always be an element of mystery in every volume, but the key is to provide enough information that the reader can feel like they're solving the mystery as they're reading each volume.
Yeah. Thank you, Simon. He said, hail, free sketch cards for the first 100 backers. Join the most badass intergalactic man of action in Tales from the Nutverse #1, which we all know is on Indiegogo right now. Thank you so much for the $5 there, Sim. Yeah, so that's what Joe's doing for me and with me, and I'm really excited, you know, especially since you know, this campaign did so well and it's gotten such a response. Now I really am feeling the pressure to deliver. So you know, that side of things was kind of, you know, in the back of my mind, and I was starting to worry about, like, is it what I want to be portrayed, is that coming across on the page? And now, you know, now that Joe's here, you know, we'll be able to make sure, you know, that exactly what I tell Joe what I want it to do, he'll be able to work together, and he'll make sure that that is, you know, what ends up getting printed.
Well, as a reader, I'm really glad you. Wait, Todd, were you saying something? No. Okay. I thought I heard something. As a reader, I'm really glad you did this, just because I don't want to blow time on sucky books. But on the other hand, as a panelist, I'm really glad you did this, because otherwise the book would come out and it'd be like, God, what have I done with my life? You know,
yeah, all this waste of time.
Oof. All hundreds of hours promoting this book.
Well, I don't mind saying, I mean, obviously there's an element of bias because I've been working on the project now for several weeks, but I'll tell you, quite frankly, the first time I read it, before I had officially decided whether or not I would accept, you know, the role of editing this project, I just read it, and I've got a pretty extensive background in terms of reading fiction, both comics and other formats of storytelling. And this is one of those rare things in modern culture where it's an original story. It's got some definite influences. I've said on previous streams that when I read it for the first time, I got vibes of The Matrix, Inception, but at the same time, it's an original story with original characters. And as a storyteller myself, separate from the editing work that I've done, but just simply someone who loves storytelling and loves reading original stories, that was my favorite part of it. I had not seen a story like this before, and so I think readers are really going to enjoy it.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, Joe pitches my book way better than I do.
Joe, have you ever arrived at a book and said, I can't take this job, it's too far gone?
Oh, I have seen. Well, I'll put it this way: there's no such thing as a story that's too far gone, but there is such a thing as a storyteller who is unwilling to admit that their story needs a lot of work. And I have run into that. And that's one of those things where, as an editor, I basically I wish you well, and we go our separate ways. Because as a writer myself, one of the first things I did when I knew I was gonna start making independent comics was I started looking for an editor for my own work. As a writer, it took me a long time to figure out, just through trial and error, that I need someone to edit my work because I'm too close to it to be able to analyze it objectively. Even though I know all of the editor stuff that you want an editor to bring to your project, I'm also the writer, so I'm too close to it. I've got blind spots. So I need somebody else who doesn't have blind spots, who can analyze my stuff objectively. So yeah, I've got a list of potential editors, and I've got my ranking of 1 through 4 or 1 through 5 that I'm going to go with, and I'm definitely going to have someone edit my own stuff.
Mike, are you worried that there's going to be a lot of redrawing or addition?
No, because when we first talked about potentially coming on board, I brought that up to Joe, and I said, I'm happy to do some redrawing here and there if something really needs it. But if we can work out a way, and Joe said, he's pretty confident that we can, where any edits that need to be made can be done without having to redraw entire panels, or especially entire pages or stuff like that. So that's how the conversation started. He was saying, why aren't more CG books hiring editors? And I said, I can tell you as an artist, a lot of the times people might be worried is or if you're, say, the writer who's paid an artist, if I bring on an editor now late in the game, how much am I going to have to spend on remaking art? Or if you're an artist, how much time am I going to have to spend redrawing art? So I said that to Joe, and he was like, that's not the concern. There are so many ways. And from pretty much the first meeting, he was telling me just little things we can do here and there to just make the story work better. And it's not like it doesn't, you do a little tweak, it doesn't change the story from this to this. No, what happens is it just adds a tiny little layer of better readability, or this makes better sense, or this is going to be clearer, or this is adding that that deeper layer that he was it's a connection to that deeper layer that he was referring to. And then those layers add up, those little things add up in the story. And I'm not worried at all. And I've been redrawing bits here and there anyway. I'd already decided, I'd already done a bit of editing myself. I originally had one of the main characters in the first half of the book in a beanie, and I drew that. I don't know why I drew that. I just did. I can't remember the decision that I had that. I thought, I want him in a beanie, whatever. And then the next time I drew him, he didn't have a beanie on, and that's fine. People take beanies on and off in the real world. That happens. But from a storytelling perspective, now you got to think, okay, are people going to know that guy's the same guy now that he has his beanie off? Because especially considering this isn't a book with costumes. This is a book where people wear normal clothes. So I was kind of hurting myself by not having visual clues as to who's who and everything like that. And then Joe agreed with that, and nice, and the hair looks better instead of the beanie anyway. Little things like that I've already sort of started doing.
Yeah, it's one of the things where I have in a way, my first CG project was just the perfect one for me to kind of cut my teeth on in terms of working with people who had never worked with an editor before, because I edited Flying Fortress Remastered for Eric Weathers, and it was 209 story pages.
Oof.
And then about 19 pages of back matter on top of that. I think it was 228 pages total.
And really good, too.
And oh, thanks, Todd. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Really enjoy hearing that. And so it had been written by a couple of guys, Eric and one of his buddies, who were not professional writers. I don't know if they'd ever done any writing prior to that project. And originally they had put out 8 floppies over the course of about 7 years. And so when Eric was trying to figure out how to do his remastered version of the story by doing one graphic novel, he had basically intended to re-letter the whole thing and do some art corrections that he felt were necessary, but he hadn't had an editor at that point. And I had been really excited about that that project from the minute it was first announced. I'd been following Eric since he first announced Battle Brick Road, prior to going
back when it was called Operation Zephyr.
Yeah, Operation Zephyr, Oz, before he announced Flying Fortress Remastered. So I noticed he hadn't said anything about an editor, so I was just on a live stream with him in the chat, not on camera. I just asked him about, if he had hired an editor, and he said he hadn't. And I basically offered to help him out if he was interested with doing some what would essentially be editorial consulting at no charge, because I just really liked the idea of the project, and I hated the idea of having him do all of this work of relettering the book and then doing art corrections, doing color corrections, and yet not editing the writing that came from a couple of amateurs from years before. And so he said, well, why don't you DM me? Let's talk. So we talked, and I basically let him know what I could do for him on an editing standpoint, and say, look, because he said, I can't redraw this book. He said, I thought about going that route, but it would take so long.
I'm 200 pages is too much.
Yeah, he said, I'm not going to be able to redraw the book. So whatever recommendations you have would have to be with that understanding. And I said, I can work with that. There's a lot that we can do with dialogue and caption boxes that won't require you to redraw anything, but will improve storytelling. And I said, if you're willing to trust me to send me, a copy of what you're working with, I won't tell anybody what you've got. I'll take a look at it and I'll let you know what I think. And so I had been, chatting with him for quite a while at that point, just through YouTube and occasionally on Twitter. So he gave it a chance, sent it over to me. I looked at it and I said, okay, here's where I think I can help you out. And I gave him a list of stuff, and he's like, okay, you're not charging me anything. You're hired.
You got the job.
And so I started going through that, and
you fit our budget.
Yeah. I fit his budget perfectly.
It's a right price range right there.
And so originally I just wanted, because I believed in the project so much, and I just wanted it to be as good as it could be. And I had some concerns just based on the lack of experience in the writing department that he had, candidly mentioned. So once I started going through with it, he basically had made comments to the effect of, oh yeah, I didn't realize what a professional quality editing job could do for my project. I'm really glad that you offered to help out. And so long story short, basically what I did, among other things, was all of the characters spoke the same. So one of the first things I did was I said, all of these guys have individual personalities. Let's make that clear in how they talk. So I helped Eric with giving them distinct voices, which also helped people keep track of who was who, because there was 10 characters in that air crew on this, bomber. So that was a big help there that he told me he really appreciated. A lot of it was copy editing, spelling, grammar, punctuation, that sort of stuff. But with copy editing, the editor for fiction also has to understand that these are characters who have personalities, and almost nobody today speaks with proper grammar. We all use...
Blue knows that.
Yeah.
Blue knows that intimately.
We all use slang. We all use improper grammar. We almost always speak informally. So the trick with editing fiction is to, correct grammar to a point, but then you have to allow a certain amount of it to allow characters to have their own, believable personalities.
Mhm.
So we just started going through and just saying to Eric, here's where I think we can change this and change that. You don't have to redraw this stuff. And so over time, he got really comfortable with my encouragement to him that I wasn't there to try and take over the project. I wasn't there to try and make it mine or write anything in my own voice. I was there to just try and help him tell the best version of his story. Emphasis on his story,
Joe.
and his collaborator who originally had worked with him. So, in essence, what we ended up doing was he went to his collaborator and said, "Hey, look, this guy's willing to help us make this a lot more readable, help us communicate things a lot more clearly to the reader. Are you okay with him, helping to rewrite some of this stuff?" And he said, as long as the essence of what we did is intact, then yeah, you got my blessing. So that was very cool. And so what we ended up doing was working together, and I helped Eric rewrite a bunch of stuff that just essentially made things easier for the reader to understand and made each character more believable. And so in the end, it was a great experience, and I was true to my word. I didn't ask Eric to redraw any panels, certainly didn't ask him to redraw any pages, and yet we were able to really improve the storytelling and the character. I'll say the uniqueness of the various characters, and you really got a sense of who these different people were and how they were different from each other. And then in the end, because it was essentially the story of a very close-knit team that was trying to work together, you got a sense in the end that these were people who were very different, but they did all pull together to try and accomplish a common goal. And by the end of the book, they do what they essentially set out to do, and it got a lot of positive response. So I was very happy to work on the project. I was very grateful that Eric gave me the shot, and it gave me a really good sense for working with people who never had any writing experience to begin with, and then try and help them tell their story.
Ooh.
So you were in the chat for sorry, Michael. Yes.
That wasn't me. I didn't say anything.
All right.
That was me. I was going to ask Joe. So, Joe, when you're making writers comfortable and creators comfortable, what is your tactic? Do you bring in the wine first before you sit them down? Bring in some grapes,
Butter them up.
give them a little bit of a massage on the neck. Let them know it's going to be okay.
Straight to the Mickeys.
No, I ask them what they like.
Okay.
Depending on what they like,
sure.
That's what I bring to the table.
No.
Might be a bottle of wine, might be a Mickey's, might be a craft beer,
could be a VB,
might be a slab of VB. Just depends on the creator.
There's 6 people on this panel right now, and I'm counting 5 that Rob likes. There's something wrong with your maths there, Rob. I was just about to plug Replicator 3 sign up. So did you have a question? Did you have a question, Dr. Whom?
Show us your browser right now, quickly, so that we can see the tab was there.
Rob should be
hang on. It was on that. I'd already changed it.
For a second. We're
There's second tab.
one backer away from $45,000. Who will be the unsung hero to get us there tonight, possibly?
But chat, if you like Camel, wait a little while before you hit 45, because he'll disappear as soon as he hits that 45.
Yeah. Let's not tell him.
He'll be out of here.
Not tell him.
He's going to
45:05. All right, everybody. Good night.
See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
Thanks for the money piece. Yeah. No.
I don't care how much Joe bothers him up. He's going to jet.
If you back now, I can guarantee at least another 10 to 15 minutes of my.
There you go.
If anything,
let's make it 15. Come on, guarantee 15.
You should be backing it, so I'll get out of here.
From the Dr. Moon waiting room.
There's no one else streaming, Camel. You might as well stay.
Let me spiral at you. Hey, Camel, show off that show off the pin that you've got in hold it up in front of the camera.
Ba, 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 ba. Ooh.
Love this thing.
Yeah, look at that.
It's big too.
Oh.
Yeah, it's about, that size.
You gotta be able to see it.
Double side, so you got 2 pins.
Yeah.
And the first 500 backers get this. I ordered 600 of them. So if there's more to give out, once we get to that point, then I'll give them away. But if you backed before the campaign closed, you get one absolutely.
Are you going to deliver them yourself and put them on each person's coat and then slap them in the chest?
Like Santa Claus, or no, like the Penguin in Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a military thing.
I will just put that pin right on you. Yeah. But it's coming along. We got. Let's see. I finished the 8th page today. I put 2 pages.
Wait.
What?
Mo has a question for you, and I think it needs to be answered. Actually, I think you need to go full screen and answer this question.
Yeah. My wife is a push broom. She just kind of. I lay down on the floor, and she just. Yeah.
Sorry. Continue.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, yeah. So yeah, I put two. Well, technically the first 3 pages up on Twitter. There's no lettering in it yet, but you kind of get an idea for the art style. It's very like comic book meets cartoon. There's it. It's a 36 color palette. Like the stuff that they used to do in the comics before digital printing came along. And it has a nice kind of mezzo tint, kind of zipatone kind of look to it. And it's very vibrant. So especially if you like the retro stuff, you're gonna love this because it looks like all the. I have this. I'll show you here. I don't know if you can see it. You see that box?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the 90s Guardians of the Galaxy issues 1 through 62. I think it's the whole series. So I'm just kind of going through that, reading it. That was one of my favorite comics growing up because it was just, it never made sense.
That was one of mine too.
I loved it, right? Because they had these stories that took place in the future, but you never knew how they got to that point. And it was just like, what happened to Captain America's shield? We don't really know what we're looking for. How did Spider-Man die on Mars? We don't really know, but we're kind of talking about it. And that's what I really like about doing Hail Salad is because although the people kind of know the characters from the cartoon, I'm still able to sort of tell this story that just kind of picks up. And then you're like, oh, let's see how the characters got to this point with knowing as little as we already do. So that's been a lot of fun. You get to see John Malin before he's a dog, which is actually in the art that I posted a couple days ago on Twitter. And you get to see Zach before he becomes the military guy that I have him. He's sort of like this. Well, I don't want to give it away, but you'll see. And it's very similar. I've actually found to like Wizard of Oz because it's like these 4 guys, right? Frigga and Frigga, Zach, Ethan, and Wanger, and they're like on their way. Through all of this bullshit to try to get into this big tower where Anna is being held captive. And once they get there, Ethan realizes that he has the power of his shoes that can open all these gates and yada, yada, yada. And again, I don't want to give too much away, but it's a lot of fun. For those of you who don't know the Iliad, Helen of Troy, right? She is kept there because she's eating this like golden apple, and it's like kind of making her delusional. She doesn't know why she's there. So in this, I have Anna eating this like golden pixie dust. And at one point, she doesn't understand.
So true to life.
Wait, this is the best part. She doesn't understand why she's into it. And she's held captive, and she has a couple of other people. She has Kelsey and Cecil, and they're there in this prison with her. And Kelsey looks over at the box and he peels off the pixie dust and he realizes she's been eating dirt this whole time. So there's a lot of fun with it, and especially if you know CG lore, you'll like it. And if you don't, then it's just as good because there's it's creating its own lore, and I think that's what's going to be a lot of fun about it. And I know I'm supposed to say this, but I've never had more fun drawing anything. So I get to wake up every morning, make a big pot of coffee, and be like, all right, let's do this. So
That's good.
So that's my pitch.
I like to hear that.
Right on.
45,000, please.
It's 45,000, please, so I can get the hell out of here.
So I can stop rambling, right?
My goodness.
Rob has pointed out that he has more sign-ups than I have backers. That's just comparing apples and oranges, Rob. That's comparing VB and Foster's. It's not the same thing.
It's counting before they hatch, Rob.
Anyone can sign up. All you do is you just type your email address in right there. But if you do sign up to Replicator 3, you'll go into a raffle. And you don't even have to back. That's the important thing. That's the thing that I am probably almost certainly going to copy. Steal, so to speak, from Rob and give away maybe some original art or something like that on my next sign-up thing. Because I think that's a really cool idea. So you just sign up. You don't have to back or anything. And yeah, I think he's giving away 3 pieces of original art. It's pretty cool. But anyway, if you do sign up, you should back it as well, because check this out. There's some really rad stuff. You should put up the color piece. You've got this in color. You've been showing it off everywhere. I mean, he's launching in like a week. But come on, Rob, you've got that in color now, because the colors on this book are looking amazing.
Look at who he's got doing covers for him.
I know.
Man, that's impressive right there. He's stacking the deck.
I'm kind of inspired by Rob in that sense. I have been conceptualizing and have just started writing a 22-page one-shot, which I want to add as like an add-on to the next campaign. Like Joe said, there's a lot of layers and everything to the Lucent. There's a lot going on there. And instead of making exposition dumps, the cool thing about crowdfunding is, you don't have to stick to a kind of, issue by issue thing. You can do one shots here. You can do all kinds of things. So that's what I'm going to do. As opposed to doing an exposition dump, I'm going to do a separate book that it'll be a bit of a flashback book. And it's going to be really cool. I really like the idea that I've come up with. So I've started to think about, who will I get to do the art for that? Because I don't have time to do the art on that.
Again,
so
who was an object there? Did it again.
Yes. Okay.
Rob, I have a question. Joe, I have a question for Joe.
Okay, is Joe here? Is Joe back?
No, never mind. Whatever.
Okay, yeah. So I just sent out the first request today to an artist that my thinking is I'll just send out kind of like dream shot requests, and then when they say no, I'll just sort of go down the line. So if you get a request in 6 months' time, that means.
Dear Mr. McFarlane, I know you're.
I mean, Michael, that's what I do, and it works.
You never know. I mean, I just started. I've written literally about 1 page of this thing, but I've plotted out the whole story and everything. I think it's going to be really cool. Going back to Rob, that's his method, is just getting these amazing talents to present his ideas. Like this, Rob Willis, Dan Frager, Kanan White, and his interior artist and colorist are no slouch either. It's a really good looking book. The cover, that I don't know why he hasn't updated this, but the cover by Kanan White is up. You can find it on his Twitter. It's colored by Clayton Barton, and it's really good stuff. So I think is launching in a week, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have him on that day, because I know Rob understands the importance of that big day one, just like you did, Camel Moon.
Yeah.
Speaking of Clayton, KOSOR Descent into Madness is still funding, and they almost got 420 backers, 33,795 Australian. I don't know what that is in US, but
are they at their 60 or their 30?
They're in demand.
Oh,
so this
okay.
book is getting finished. I don't know exactly when it ships, but I know that they're working hard on it, and it's art wise, it's so different. Even genre wise, it's really kind of a refreshing sort of new style of well, not new for comics, but new for COMICSGATE. This sort of monster. Is it kind of like Conan the Barbarian type book? I really dig it, and that's really awesome there.
It's almost like a modern take on one of the EC Comics horror books.
Yeah, it's. I just really like that there's something for everyone in what we're doing here, and this is definitely sitting in its own space, filling that gap. These guys love Kane and White. It's so cool.
Yeah, look at that Kane and White cover that Clayton colored.
Clayton is a bit of a gun colorist. He doesn't really sell himself as a colorist, but he's right up there. And of course, the black and white, one of the best looking black and white books available. So I made sure I got both.
Yeah, I got both too. That black and white version is going to be fantastic.
I didn't know I could get that. I might get that. I actually think I like that more.
Some people have said that, yeah, because these colors are very, they're very rich and saturated, and it is a big element on the page that the black and whites do. It's sort of a completely different mood.
Well,
and
I think
I just love it,
especially as as an inker myself. I just genuinely like looking at people's inks.
Yeah,
you really definitely evoke a different feeling from it. And not that the color is bad. The coloring is great. It's just it's almost like sometimes you can just watch a movie in black and white. It's just you're right. It just gives you a different kind of feel.
Check out this eye here. I haven't looked at that. Like that detailing here, like all the different folds of the eye and the shadows and everything. That's just.
Looks like
I even love the
reflection, like a glare.
The way he's done the reflection is really unique. I would have probably just drawn a circle. That's so cool. Love it.
Yeah, got a little bit of grim dark going on here.
How much is the black and white?
So you can get it by itself. I don't know what it is in. Let me change it to US for you. Okay, US dollars. I mean, I think it'd just be 25. But don't quote me on that. Yeah, 25 US, but I got the three with a poster. I think I got this version, definitive, and black and white is $50, 51 because of exchange rates. But you get both editions. But yeah, you could just get the black and white by itself as well.
And it's 48 pages. It's one story. I don't need to wait for the sequel or.
I'm pretty sure it's one story. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, I know Corey has said that there are multiple volumes, but and maybe Rob can chime in on this if he's not busy picking his nose. I thought that they said that it does have a beginning, middle, and end. So multiple volumes, but it's not like you get to the end of this one and you feel like, okay, you read chapter 1, but where's the rest of it?
Yeah.
But they are developing a second book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, they got 400 backers.
On their stream the other night, Corey was saying that the next book, the main character of this book is not going to be the main character of the next book.
Oh, there you go. I mean, that says pretty much, that they're just trying to create a universe.
I think he said it's the main character of the next book is going to be this main character's daughter. I think is what he said the other night.
Cool. So there you go. Kozor, Descent into Madness, and just quickly, Kill Journal. I mean, I can't get enough of this friggin' thing. Have you seen this one, Camel Moon?
Yeah, there's Rob just confirmed it in the chat.
Can you move up? One
is focused on Chief Baron. 2 will be a different character. There you go.
What's the cover? I don't think I have seen this.
The cover is this leather bound thing. he's doing like an embossed gold foil leather bound thing. But he's doing an interesting thing here. I'll tell you what he's doing. So it's basically a kind of horror slasher sort of type book, and he's got all these just really amazing character designs. But he's also doing a like when you back the book every, I don't know exactly what, like if it's every month or every couple of months. I think it's every month. He'll send you, because the main volume is four issues altogether. He'll send you the issues in digital, so that you can kind of, if you choose, if you want to, you can read it as you go while you wait for the final kind of printed version.
He's doing that right now with the 8th.
Exactly. And these are the 4 covers of those 4 digital things. So I presume these will also be sort of like, separated pages in the printed version as well. But there it is there. That's and it's $40, and it's, does it say it here? I mean, it's a lot of comic. It's like 80 pages or something.
Yeah.
And Jason Krager, I'll scroll down so you can see the actual pages. So look at these awesome character designs. Just really dig this. And where are the pages there? Okay, so that's a cover. Jason Krager, who did that Hammer book, is doing the line art, and then he's got Steve Cannon, who is on Jack Irons, doing the colors. It's a really good. It's a really good mix. It looks really good. I'm really excited about this one. And Adam's a really cool guy too. I always feel like he's slumming when he hangs out with us, because he's this big time TV dude. He's done these massive campaigns. When I say massive, I mean I think in the millions, or at least getting up there, for board games and stuff like that.
He's a director. He does all kinds of things.
His TV show, I think the first episode has 25 million views on it or something.
Oh wow!
He's just a super humble, cool guy who just loves comics. He's doing this because he really wants to make a cool comic. And this is his second one. He had another one called The 8th, which did really well as well. Michael's
he's basically what Campbell Moon will be in the future.
Yeah, he's you. In 10, 15 years.
I'm just so surprised. I don't think Blue has ever complimented me in my life, so I'm just taking this in. Thank you. It's a very nice compliment.
But hang on.
I've been goofing with you so much lately that I didn't want to say it as he's everything Camel wishes he could be.
So now we know what you meant to say. I got you. Okay.
He's you unless you screw it all up and end up destitute.
He's you if you listen to your wife.
I've been listening a lot lately.
I wanted to show you because you're an animator and audio visual guy. I want to show you this trailer because he was telling us that if you wanted to get this done professionally in LA, where he's based, without friends, it would cost you a lot of money to get to make. But luckily, he has those connections. It's only 30 seconds long.
My name is Sydney Valentine, and I'm a survivor.
Oh, I've seen this. It's really great.
A revenant slaughtered everyone I love, including my daughter. They're evil spirits, back from the dead, who wield machetes and tire irons, and a bullet to the head won't stop them. After one butchered his congregation, St. George claims God called him to hunt the revenants, and he's recruiting survivors to join him. Most won't make it out alive, but at least they're taking a stand. God has his book of life, and St. George has his kill journal.
He was saying
DC property. Was it DC property? They made a TV show of it a couple of years ago.
What's that?
It reminds me of a DC property. They made a TV
Oh, okay.
Preacher?
Thank you. That's what it was. Yeah. I don't know if it's anything like it, but it just kind of reminded me of it.
I only watched the first episode of that. I wasn't really into it.
I heard it was
I might have to
awful.
read
Yeah, they watched the first episode too, and I felt the same way. I was like, I don't get what's going on here.
Huh? That's interesting.
All that
I've never
Garth
seen
really
it,
does is deconstruction anyway. I mean, he's just a more interesting version of J.J. Abrams.
Well, that's easy.
Short and sweet, exactly.
Yeah.
Who's,
Not hard for
who's
Jar
got
Jar.
a bit of gain on their microphone all of a sudden? Is that you again, Poland? Hang on,
I haven't touched it.
What do you?
It is you. It is you.
It's
I
me
don't know.
again. I didn't touch it.
I don't know. Maybe you changed because you changed hats. I don't know.
I think
It's
that's what it was.
bouncing back. It's interference.
It's the hat.
It is the hat.
And we couldn't miss the fantastic Thomas Moria. I think Stefani is in the chat. Oh, hang on. I'm not even sharing it. What an idiot. What an idiot.
We forgive you.
It's because I had it set to Chrome tab.
We're used to it by now, Mike. Don't worry.
I know. Well done. Brian Crisco was calling him Stephanie the other day, and he was like, "Oh, you know, she's doing really well here." And I was like,
Oh, wow.
massive beard on Stefani. If you've seen him, I don't think he's a lady, but I don't want to judge. You know, if you are a lady, that's your business. But yeah, either way, fantastic book, my friend, and well done. Already 205 backers, and
That's awesome.
8 days in. I was so worried for you, Stefani, when you launched, because you did the whole 60-day campaign thing. But it seems to be you're bucking the trend. Everyone's really excited about this book, and for good
The art
reason.
looks amazing.
Yeah.
Stefani is an amazing artist.
Like I say, it's it's kind of like a woodcut line art style, and then he's just got the modern colors on it, and it's just a match made in heaven. And a lot of people have said the reference to the Doctor Strange. You know how he does like his magic sort of things, but he said it's not inspired by that. That's just his own thing. He's got this awesome car here.
More inspired by Constantine, but yeah, definitely an original property.
And I like a man who likes to draw a good car. And good monsters too.
Yeah.
I am not in that camp. I hate drawing cars and
really
buildings. That's why all my shit
I
takes
love
place
drawing that stuff.
All my stuff takes
love
place
it.
on rocky terrain, so I can use a brush and put stars. There's no.
See, I look at this page and I'm like, yeah, nice. I like the angle on the
I'm
roof.
impressed
And
by it.
I like how he's
I can't do it.
spent
Like,
some
it
time
would
on the
take me-
hospital bed.
It would take me a week.
Look, he's even got some kind of floating city thing going on here.
Bespin. It's a
Yeah.
Bespin thing.
Look at his concept art there at the bottom. It kind of looks like Patrick.
A little bit, yeah. That one with the dead eye and the scarred face.
Yeah, and the streaks of gray down the beard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, Stefani, what are you trying to tell us here?
The whole book is fan art.
Yep. He's simping.
Big for Patrick. All right.
It's one big simp move.
And Blue has asked me if we can show off another book, and I'm saying yes, we can. While we're looking at them, let's do it.
Before you do, I'm going to have to bail out, gentlemen. I've got a story meeting tomorrow morning on a secret project.
It's the Libyans.
I was going to ask you, Joe, if this is brief, really brief.
Yeah.
Because you've encouraged me that maybe if I'm going to be an editor, I'd be okay as a copy editor, but I'm not sure. And even I'm not sure about doing the whole content story editor thing that you're talking about. But when you're looking for work, do you do what I do and you kind of listen to how people talk and you listen to their grammar and their spelling, which you can tell in how they talk, and you go, that guy's going to need an editor. I can hear it from here.
No.
No, Blue, because Joe understands that people write and speak differently.
Yeah.
You know, I may not talk proper, but I knows how to write proper.
Yeah, for me, it's purely the project.
Okay, so we'll talk again about how you track down your prey. We'll get it.
Yep.
See you, Joe, and I'll be seeing you in a couple of days, I presume.
Yes,
for our
sir.
meeting?
That's correct. We'll have our weekend meeting, and we got some good stuff to go over.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Please check on my kids.
You got it.
In the future.
Bye, Joe. Good talking to you again.
Who's the vice president? Jerry Lewis?
Hey, I got the first chapter read out of this book, Eudaimonia, and I'm probably saying it incorrectly. This was
Eudaimonia.
Yeah. Oh, Eudaimonia.
Eudaimonia?
Yeah, he writes in four.
Look at that.
Yep. He writes in what do they call it? Quatrain, where it's AB is every stanza, and they rhyme that way.
Iambic pentameter.
No, but anyway, but it has a rhythm to it. The first chapter is mostly narrated, but it's not done in the bad way. So that's cool. The only negative thing about this book so far is that it looks like it wasn't designed for square bound, where some of the lettering gets too close to the crease. That's it. So yeah, a lot of people have said this was really good. I'm only one chapter into it, and that was done really well. So I want to give a chance to this guy's next book, which is a horror. He's got two issues in this. And his next book is a horror book called How to Die. And for some reason, it's not showing up on Indiegogo when you look in the trending. So I thought we'd give it a shout out.
Oh, yeah. I noticed that too. I think you, Blue, mentioned that the other day. And I went to Indiegogo and it didn't. You had to actually search for it and then you'd find it, but it won't show up anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yep.
All righty. So I believe I have it ready. Perhaps. Yes,
I hope
I
you
do.
have it ready.
I do. What did you think of Eudaimonia?
Just the first chapter. He has a way to intrigue, and then, but it was a little bit weird because I was waiting for more dialogue when the first chapter was told in narration. But it's not info dump narration, which is good. So it was actually enjoyable to read, and he has a lot of careful creativity in his word choices for how to pick his rhymes and say the things that he wants to say. So he's definitely thoughtful and got a lot of skill in there. It's funny, there are no character. There are only two characters in the first chapter, so you get characterization for them, but most of it's just the townspeople. So I'm intrigued, and I got a lot of pages to go. That's it. I'm happy with it.
Cool. Yeah, I bought it on recommendation. Really strong recommendation by I think that guy, the Arch City Comics guy, but that was just sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. I'd heard a bunch of people saying that it's very unique and different, and I really like the look of it and the sound of it. So I'm going to enjoy jumping into that when I eventually get around to it. Poland, your thing is really getting windy or something. I don't know what it is.
I think I'm breathing through my nose on my microphone.
No, I think it's Poland. I've just muted him and it stopped. So let's I don't know anything about this project. I'm going to play this trailer. So I haven't watched it before, so don't judge me if there's anything weird in it. Oh, it's Vimeo.
Oh, there's a trailer.
Oh God. Oh. Oh my God! Stop!
my ears.
There's a
okay. Let me just it was like down underneath the oh my God. Okay, let's shove it again. 1 sec. Oh, it's still loud. Hold on. No. I'm gonna put it on bottom. See if that helps. Whew. All right.
Back my book!
This guy is listening to the music. He's got it really covered.
right. Getting there.
Makes me want to play Doom.
I was not expecting that at all. Like, you
no
know,
apologies, man. No apologies.
like you look at these books. You look at these books, and you know it's written in rhyme, and it's all, you know, the cover is a woman playing a cello with bright colors. It's like I was not expecting that at all. Yeah. So what have we got here? How to Die. Lovers of horror, welcome to the funding campaign for How to Die. So you're saying this isn't showing up in the, you know, when you search for comics at all?
Yeah, and I don't know. I didn't do the same thing he did. It might look different as the creator rather than not the creator. And he said that when he lists all the comics by money, or you know, by the amount of money they've taken in, it still doesn't show up. And that's weird.
Ooh.
Mo says, How to Die looks much better than my latest memoir, How to Lose Your Will to Live. It's about Now, here's a little lowdown on our good friend Mo Biggs. I jumped into a Skip Edwards stream the other day. You know, it was about half an hour left, and it was Mo Biggs in there talking with Skip. And I jump in there and say hello, and the first thing Mo says to me is, don't look up, like, don't go and read up through the comments. So what's the first thing I do is I just go scroll to the top and start reading the comments. And I did manage to see some complimentary stuff in there about yours truly. So thank you, Mo Biggs. And that was before he started deleting all the messages. And they all became message retracted. I know how you really feel.
So he only talks nice when you're not around.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. That seems to be the whole shtick. Do you need a bit more interior art? Is my internet really slow? What's going on here? Okay, we've got a bit down here. Pre-edit cleanup. Birth of the Black Ice interior previews pre-edit cleanup. I'm not sure what that means.
I think that means don't take this art as final.
Ooh.
It's yeah.
And don't take the text as final.
All right. Maybe he could have, you know, the not showing up in the trending area notwithstanding. Maybe he could have waited until he had final art, at least, you know, a couple of pages of it. I don't know. There you go. How to Die. You know, the same thing happened to Bandito with his campaign. You can't find his mailing list by searching through the comics that are launching soon.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's you just can't find it. You've got to Google it to be able to find it. But it looks like Joshua is $30 away from $1,000.
Right on.
So hopefully he gets there. He's already funded. He only needed $500 to get it funded. But you know, we always like to see people get a bit more.
Oh, what was it? Luke with hybrids was like $80 away from his his goal. Yeah. And so of course I posted something mean on Twitter about
it. Yeah, I mean that's what we do. I mean,
like, I'm gonna wait till the last day. It's got a week left. I'm not making you a goal today.
Yeah, there's another one we need to get
101%.
Oh,
So
there it
he's
is.
Funded. 5,000.
Yes.
What's the other one, Todd?
What was the other one I was looking at? Oh, Bobcats. That one too is way underfunded.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've had him on.
Yeah,
he's a cool guy.
Yeah, and it looks awesome. I love that concept he's doing.
It is. He's a really cool guy. It's a good looking book, but I haven't really seen him around anywhere. He's another one of those guys. You know, we've talked about this. I don't know if I've talked about it with you, Coleman. I think maybe we did. But, you know, there's these guys out there that are just sort of... Rob would know about this too, because I think he was one of them, you know. Just kind of indie creators. They're not, you know, they're not SJWs. They're not, you know, I guess they have to, you know, deal with a lot of SJWs because that's, you know, who's out there.
Yeah.
But they're not COMICSGATE either. They're just independent comic book creators who want to make a good book.
That's what I was just a couple of years ago.
Exactly.
I didn't even know what CG was. But I mean, I would imagine even if there are people who know what CG is, they just want to stay apolitical, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and COMICSGATE, a lot of people who like to say, we're apolitical, but if you do go on streams, the talk can be a bit confronting if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
What's said and all the joking, and you don't know what's a joke or what's not. And so I do understand, people don't want to necessarily get involved or attached. But at the same time, without that network, it's a
good
you can
point,
see
though.
a good book like this is just.
But like
I like the subject matter too for the Native Americans.
Yeah.
My godparents are Apaches.
Yeah, and he's sort of in the
really
same
like
boat.
this.
He's got Native American ancestry, and the way he put it, it sounds like it was a really good story to tell. And there needs to be more like this.
Oh, that's awesome. I once did some mission work with the Apaches. Really great time.
Oh yeah, I love my godparents. They my initials of my name spells their last name.
Huh.
TT.
TT.
Yeah.
Cool. Mitch says, "Yeah, I backed some non-CG books." There's a thing, kind of a year ago, everyone was sort of getting on the whole CG only train, and there's value in that, sort of like let's band together and help support each other. But I am happier now that people are getting a bit more relaxed about it, and as long as there's people out there, because I've always backed non-CG books. They were the first ones that I ever backed.
Yeah, I think what you were saying there earlier about like people who are like low key remaining apolitical, I think it's tough if, like, for example, you listen to a couple of streams and you're right, if they're like joking about something that you might not even feel offensive, but it's just you haven't thought about it, right? Yet there's no like critical thinking involved, then it might just seem a little off-putting, and then it's like, oh, are we allowed to joke about that? And maybe that's one of the reasons why more people not more, but some people just decide to kind of stay on the outside of it.
Well, and as well, as X Vicious says, we are in a bubble. We have to understand that, and we have to try and, figure out ways to reach out to new people, because, like he said, he didn't even know that all this stuff was happening beyond your boy EVS and just some guy. And I know about it because I'm sort of living it every day. I'm hanging out on streams. People come to me and say I've got this new book, so that's how I know about it. But not everyone is in that same position, even within CG. Let alone if you're you're just a guy who's on Facebook, and if someone shows you a cool comic book, you might have a look at it and might consider backing it. But if you're not, in here joining in with everything, how are you going to know about all this stuff?
Well, I think too, in a way, CG has like a very, I wouldn't call it a high, but it has a barrier to entry. Like, you need to be active on Twitter, on streams all the time. Like, you need to be there. And the guys who aren't are the guys who aren't pulling in 10K for their books. So it's like, if you want to be successful at it, it's a job. It really is a job. And then on top of that, you need to, get the attention and admiration of people who want to see your stuff. And that, especially for maybe if you're a writer, or maybe if you're a creator, maybe if you're someone who's a little bit more used to being behind the scenes, can be difficult, because it's like, oh, now I have to put my face out there. I mean, even myself, it was a long time before I went on a stream. It was, people didn't know who I was. They didn't see anything about me till maybe the third or fourth episode of Hail Salad. And then that's when I came on your show. Your show was one of the first appearances that I did. So I think if you are on the outside and you're like, oh, I want to be CG, it might be difficult, because you're like, all right, well, I got to start a YouTube channel. I get people who text me at least once a week. Hey, how do I make $40,000 in my campaign? And I'm like, I can tell you everything I did. Yeah, but I'm just like, I can tell you what I did, but you kind of need to find your own avenue. Like, EVS does, what your boy Zach does, all those guys, technically, yes, it's true. You need to have a YouTube account. You need to create content, essentially free content that's a video to get your name out there. But you also have to have a good product, and that is sometimes really difficult. A lot of times you see guys who only have a good product, but they lack essentially the marketing sense to get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the problems with Bobcat is, I don't know about you, Michael, but I've only seen him on 2 streams, yours and I think Shay's.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say earlier. I've heard through about him through Blue maybe or someone, or no, it was Leroy. It was Leroy told me about him, and I was like, oh, okay. So I checked him out. I said, yeah, it looks good. I'll reach out to him, and then I saw he's on Shay's. Haven't seen him since, and he's a cool guy, and he's got his whole setup, and you can tell he does conventions because he's got all these banners and everything. But as well, he's not a young guy, so maybe he's just sort of it's hard to teach the old dog new tricks. They're kind of set in their ways. But Camel, you are one of the few guys, I think. You, Adam Lawson. Some others get on streams regularly, but they don't have their own YouTube channel. You're one of the few guys who doesn't have like a regular streaming channel or like putting out regular content. Your cartoons come out once every month or something like that.
They used to be once every 2 weeks, but then I got to a point where I was like, I just have a job. So I was like, once a month is the best I can do. So
yeah. But you're totally right about the if you're not out there in the crowd, so to speak, your likelihood of reaching anything above 10,000, it just goes down enormously. Look at Stefania Renee here in the chat. He's saying it's hard, and he's put in the work in terms of chat. Every chat I go in, pretty much, Stefani will pop in at some point. He's always there saying hello. And interacting with people who say hello back to him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then, you look at people like Cecil. Cecil is a first-time writer. But the dude does 3 hours a day on some stream. So it's like, he's absolutely getting out there. People love his personality. He interacts with everybody, pretty much. And, he has the kind of not go-getter, but like the kind of personality like, oh, I want to hang out with this guy. I want to have a beer with him. He seems normal,
A beer, A.
Yeah.
One beer.
No, I want to have a bottle with the guy.
I want to have a bottle, a whole bottle of scotch. But that's like a magic trick of a personality. Like there's a lot of people who just, whether they can or can't do it, they don't want to do it, and that's why like I've when people ask me what I do, or like look, you could read these books like 10 ways to become a millionaire. Every single one of those ways is 100% true. It's the right way to do it, but there's only so many people that are willing to do those steps, and like some people skip steps. It's like, oh, that doesn't pertain to me or whatever. But it's like, no, you actually have to do all the steps, but it requires a sort of certain stick-to-itiveness and personality to actually go through with it.
You mentioned that, you get people asking you, how do you get a $40,000 on a campaign? There was a tweet that went out, and it was directed to a bunch of us, and it said something like, I got a whole bunch of people on the mailing list, but like, where do I find the people in CG who actually back books? And I checked out his link, and he does have a campaign. It is live, and it's not doing very well. And the answer was in the question. Where do I find all these people who actually back the books after they've signed up? And I said, well, that's the thing, you get out there and you meet them one by one. You meet VIP, you meet Felix Haas. We've just met Michael Tryon. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. All these guys, you meet them one by one, and then eventually your audience grows, and it's just like that. It's not magic. It's not rocket science either, but it is, something that you just have to do.
Well, look at like the hot dog cart analogy, right? You could have the greatest fucking hot dog truck in the world, But if you're in a shitty neighborhood where there's no people living there, no one's going to come out there. But you could sell terrible hot dogs. If you're in front of Shea Stadium, you're going to make $1 million, right? So as long as you, and hopefully you have great hot dogs and you're in front of Shea Stadium, I mean, you're going to have a line around the block. So it's like, yeah, location is kind of a thing. And right now, location is being a presence in CG. If you want to, I think, have success, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Todd, what do you think? What gets you to back books?
First, it's the art, because that's what you see first. For me, being an artist and a writer too, then those are my two. But like I said before, on Rob and Clayton's stream, I was saying that sometimes I've seen stuff that I didn't want to back, but then I went on some streams and saw the artist or the creators of the project and their personalities and their enthusiasm for the project has made me want to back that project, even though my first choice was not to.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that with a few now.
Yep. I did that with Mike Miller. I was like, I don't know about this. Doesn't really, it doesn't
Kimmel,
really,
you
suit
might
me.
not be the target of my humor for quite a while.
Thanks.
No problem.
But then eventually, the tag team of Ethan and Mike eventually, got me and I ended up backing his book. The same, a lot of books that I'm exactly the same. That I just initially, no, I could kind of take it or leave it, and I left it. But yeah, you get to know them, you get to know people, and you feel like you're friends with them. That's why it's kind of cool sometimes when they come on the show and I'm meeting them face to face for the first time. Like, oh, it's actually cool to meet you because I feel like we're already friends because I've watched you, on so many streams.
I think it's also a combination of the two. Like, I haven't.
Why do I keep getting that?
I haven't backed Cash Grab. Genuinely, I'm just not interested in the story. I'm like, whatever. However, the fact that he offers the Doug Ash can by itself, I think that's awesome, and I love the art for it. So it's like that is something I'm gonna back when they start going out, because I'm always what do they call it, like a backloader or something like that. I like supporting at the end. However, yeah, it's like that's great that a lot of guys are getting funded just because of who they are or whatever. But personally, I only have so much time to read so many books, so I can't just afford to buy every single thing that comes out.
I'm still getting through Six Gun Gorilla. I don't know how long ago I got that. It must be over a month. I'm just not getting time at night to read anything. I like Michael's comment here. To be fair, I've watched a few streams. I usually lurk until I get the feel of how much of an asshole I can be in the chat. That is so true. You could do an entire show
Mo,
just
you got
on
some
that.
competition coming on here with Michael.
Turn in the right place, Michael.
Michael, I have no problem with you being an asshole, but let me ask you: have you backed Hail Salad today? Lately? Because you could be the one to get us to $45,000. I mean, that sounds like a badge of honor to me.
What is it about being in the chat that you just want to troll people? Like we all feel that, don't we? We all do that. I presume. I know I do it. I just get in there and I'm like, how can I get under this guy's skin? What can I say? How can I push him? What button can I push? And it's it's a little bit of a tightrope to walk sometimes. But yeah, if you have a show and and you don't want the chat to make fun of you, I mean, that's a show destined to fail. I think that's kind of 90% of the fun right there.
We have to roll with it, right? I mean, imagine if Ethan blocked every person who made fun of him. He'd have nobody watching his show.
Yeah, I start to feel bad though sometimes because I just feel like I'm piling on. The whole waistline jokes and all kinds of stuff like that. But I don't know. Sometimes you just get swept up in it.
Yeah. Although the worst way to have to back a book or discover you're gonna back a book has been that you're trying to be friendly to people just because it's cool and it's kind of fun and you're participating in the forgive the term, the community. And Liam
The
lets you on a stream.
community.
Yeah, Liam lets you on a stream, and then someone else lets you on a stream, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh crap, he's going to ask if I backed his book. I better back it. What is this blue-green thing?
Does that happen? I guess I just
It
did
does.
it, I guess. So. But I do it in jest. It's okay. Yeah.
And that's the story of how Michael and I met. So-
yes. Has someone stopped streaming? Because we just had a bunch of people coming in here, including Mortal V, who
Mortal
does
V.
like another person who likes to make fun of it, mate. So welcome, Mortal V.
I have a
he's
huge
trying to
shout
learn
out
how
to
to
Mortal V.
impersonate
He has
my
gotten
voice.
me tons of patrons, just by posting the link. I think more than any other person, actually.
Look at this right here, one above the other. Mo Biggs, hail Mortal V, and Mortal V says back to Mo, hail Mo Biggs. Well, I feel like there's some sort of,
Why do you guys get married already?
evil meeting going on here.
Oh, it's bromantic. Leave it alone, man. Loosen up a little.
The
House
Shane
of Us
stream
says
must
Shane
have
stopped.
ended.
Well, welcome everyone. If
Oh,
you're
yeah,
not
there it is.
subbed, make sure you hit sub or like and all that sort of stuff. Did you what are you laughing at, Todd? Who's making fun of me now?
I borrow ideas.
Shane stops. Oh god. Apparently, Mortal V has been on Leroy's channel. Leroy's channel is one I can't recommend enough. I really dig what he's doing over there. I've seen you've been on there, Todd.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's kind of become must-watch COMICSGATE. It's the topics that he touches on and the discussions. I remember what he said to me, and I've been thinking about this as well. When you start talking and you are a creator, you just can't help but the conversation gets steered towards creatory stuff like campaigns and art and all that sort of stuff, how to make it and everything. But you even though I am a fan, I've backed 3 books this week. I still, when I start streaming, I still kind of come at it from a creator's perspective now. And, you lose that. You lose that sort of fan edge. Like, then they don't really care about, well, how do you set up the perk in the back end of or whatever, all that sort of stuff. They couldn't care less. And Leroy was pointing that out to me. So, like, I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. I just want to talk about the books or, how they're being funded or, where we can find more people to get involved in this and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I
cheer for your team kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, Red Gaze ended as well. Oh, fantastic. Welcome, everybody. We're over 50 people here. You should start shilling your book again, Cameron.
I'll do the quick pitch. We're one backer away from 45K. So, if you haven't backed it yet, no time like the present.
Let's
Camel needs you.
I do. I need you. I need you to give me hugs and kisses.
Wow, it's like they just don't want you to get there, huh? It's like you've said something to someone at some point, and
all I know is
them
that
off.
I haven't gotten a bump from Michael in a month.
Okay, so either he's your
I
drug
gave you
dealer or
so
this
many
is
Bancroft
horrendously
bumps. Your whole body is just ridden with Bancroft bumps at this point.
Yeah, but what have you done for me lately?
So, Mike, what's it like being a polygamist?
Compop, yeah, lumps and bumps. My Bancroft bumps, my lovely Bancroft bumps.
Yeah,
my
the Bancroft lump, I think.
The bulge, the Bancroft bulge. Come on to my show and I'll give you the Bancroft bulge.
Also, I didn't know Leroy had a channel. I have beef with Leroy because
what's your beef?
He put a tweet out and he was like, "These are all the artists I'd like to see on Frega's Inktober." I wasn't there. What? Do I not draw? Do I not bleed and draw at the same time?
Nobody knows you're an artist. They think of you as a cartoonist.
To be fair, now how am I going to find this? Is it going to come up? Yeah, I've already searched it. To be fair, you didn't put any of your, of your pages up, your interiors up,
There's 2
until
pages of
after the
Twitter.
campaign ended.
Hey, there's all those covers I did. Okay, I can draw. I can draw with the best of them.
Camel looks like the before picture of Paul.
Oh man! Before I created the hair club, or after I created the hair club, I think maybe I'm the after.
Oh,
He
that's
has
a good
said
one,
before
Rob. I
that
like it.
I steal his style.
Camel is the one disliked. No one will get the last backing. Yeah, so this is Leroy's channel here, and this is what I'm talking about, right? Maybe I'm going to talk about this, and then I'm going to talk about Twitter. Leroy has 62 subscribers, but everyone seems to know who he is. Everyone who streams, or hangs out and chats, I should say, knows who Leroy is. Leroy is another guy who gets around everywhere. So don't let the 62 subscribers fool you. He's just started the channel, and he's already getting pretty decent views. His last one got 143. That's what I would normally get on one of my hour-long streams, and I've got 1,500 subs. So that tells you the trajectory of this show. And like I've said many times, and I'll keep saying, the strength of this show is it's just fans. There's no shilling, and there's no creators.
Well, I do appreciate that Leroy's logo is my initials. That was nice of him.
Oh, yes, I'm sure that's what it was.
Yeah, I was like, well, it's good enough.
What's Mo saying? The biggest betrayal was in Bancroft listed his favorite artist and left you. Well, Mo, I mean, all I've seen from you is a black avatar. You're an artist with your words.
It's Black Lives Matter.
You know what he's got going on.
He over-inks.
Metal Movies and Bruce is just subs Leroy. Yeah. And even Rob, right? Even Rob said, who am I? Are you guys hearing an echo?
No.
Okay, it's just me. All right, that's all right. Even Rob, when he was talking about Leroy's channel, said, was it Rob?
What's it, Rob?
Someone said.
Someone.
Don't make me watch our show again on the stream and loop your laugh over and over again. I think it was Rob. I'm gonna accuse Rob anyway. He said, the good thing about watching Leroy's channel is you can kind of like see what the fans are saying, and you do a bit of market research or something like that. I'm gonna say Rob said that.
Oh, does he have subtitles turned on?
Who? What?
I didn't know Rob relied on closed caption.
He can hear what people say. And again, that's you're coming at it from a creator's perspective as well. So I do totally understand the whole mentality of let's kind of get some separation going here, because it shouldn't just this whole YouTube game in CG should not just be creators talking about themselves and shilling their books and all that sort of stuff. It should be about the majority of people who are involved in this, which are the readers as well. Wise Guy says, I came here after Shane Davis' stream, after Frager's stream, Mandy Summer's stream, and Martina Makota's stream. Yeah, there was a lot going on tonight, huh?
Wow.
It seems to be like that every night, though, these days.
TGI Friday and CG. The whole lineup.
That's like what Rob did on Corey and Clayton's stream, brought on the fans. I was on it, and I think Dustin was on it too, and asked us all questions about what the fans thought of things, the creator's point of view, and then he added what we told him to his document that he put together for crowdfunding.
So he was pretty much just cynically using you as market research then. I was exactly correct. I mean, he's just using you guys, abusing you, really. Did he pay you for that at all? Was it like, what do you get out of that? That's what I want to know.
No, it was fun. It was fun talking to him and Clayton and Corey.
It's like when you say, hey, I've got a cool project. Who wants to draw it for me? It'll be lots of fun for you to draw my book for me.
Todd, that's
well, then that would include cash, yes.
Very generous.
Mortal V says there's lots of Leroy's going around. Yeah. Wise Guy's very clever of Rob.
This is just how artists are. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be used by you. Mm-hmm. Some want to abuse you. Some want to be abused.
I played my kids the Marilyn Manson version of that song. They did not appreciate it. This is even without. I said, "Do you want the film clip or just the audio?" And Mel was looking at me with daggers, saying, "Audio only," and they lasted about 10 seconds. I was like, "No, wait! It's gonna get really good." Yeah,
No.
8-year-olds and 3-year-olds do not really dig that that kind of thing.
Think of the children.
Uncultured swine.
Did you want to put in your 2 cents? You mentioned to me, Camel, that you wanted to put in your 2 cents on the great and illustrious Dan Shaheen.
Yeah, so I'm like watching this thing yesterday or the day before, and I'm a little late because I have shit to do, and so I'm watching this thing.
He's a busy man.
My brain is leaking out of my head. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I couldn't believe the arguments this guy was making and the accusations. It was like this condescending annoyance. He was like watching like a this smug. It was like right after the Kamala Harris thing I watched too, and I'm like, what the fuck is up with these people? Like, it was just, he was casting aspersions.
Did he do this? I'm talking.
Kind of, well, like,
I'm
he did
talking.
this thing. Oh god, that was I almost turned the TV off when that happened. But like, he's the way he's talking to Ethan, and he it's almost like he's arguing like on a 6th grade level, where it's just like he's just like, oh, so you think that that's the right way to do it? And that was his tone and inflection, and it was like, you sound like an idiot. I'm just like, you sound like you haven't prepared for anything. And it was one accusation after another, and then as Ethan would try to explain himself, and I thought Ethan did fantastic. And I'm not just saying that because I'm drawing a comic book with him in it. I really, because he never jumped on the guy. He just was like, he tried to explain himself, and he just wouldn't. It was almost like he wouldn't listen to reason. You see this a lot in
people like him don't.
Well, these wackadoos, right? These Antifa leftists, where they're so dug in that any logic and reason, it creates this cognitive dissonance where they're like, they don't want to understand what you're saying. So they shut you down, they call you names. And I almost think the only reason he didn't end the stream was because it was on his own fucking channel. Like, otherwise he would have just
because he threatened to a couple of times, didn't he? He's like, this is where I got to end it because
Oh, I want to take my ball and go home. And you know how he was full of shit? Multiple times, especially towards the end, he looked for Ethan's approval. He tried to roll back and walk back a couple of things he said. He tried to end on like this kind of faux nicety. I was just like, you don't have one thought in your head that wasn't put there by somebody else.
No.
And I almost wish that he would argue with someone like me, because I would call him out for every fucking bullshit idiocy that prattled out of his stupid fucking face.
I would pay to see that.
I think more people need to argue with someone who's willing to call them out. I appreciate that EVS wouldn't do it.
That's what I actually. Really. I said that to Dan, because he mentioned on the stream that we've been in touch, and I said that to him. Like, obviously,
Camel's gonna eat you.
I said, obviously, I don't agree with any of your conclusions, but I was initially happy that they were talking again about all this stuff. But I don't know how fruitful it was, because I think, again, it was probably almost exclusively CG as watching.
Well, also, you and I had discussed briefly, just through Twitter, the motivation. And I was like, why suddenly? Not suddenly, but it is sort of suddenly in the sense that now he's going to have a whole video about it. Why is this like a thing? And it's like, I almost think it's just, he needs points, right? For whatever wackadoo woman he's dating, or his friend group, or whatever his social circle is. He needs to, look at this fucking pile of poo and be like, I want to be praised for this. And even if I lose the argument, my moron idiot friends are going to think that I won it, if only because I stood up to this guy. But he didn't stand up to him. It was like, he got knocked down every single time. And every time he got knocked down,
those boxes.
Right, that's what it was. Every single time that happened, he just would be like, "Oh, so you're okay with that? You're okay with being a sexist?" And then he would be like, I got jokes. I got Jew jokes. I'm not going to tell him, but I got them. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
It was meandering. It was pointless.
I actually got called out on that because we, spoke briefly on this topic the day after with Drew, and I got a comment on that show from a viewer who said, "Yeah, obviously Dan is, accusing us of, like, one of his big accusations to Ethan was you don't actually believe that Mark Waid did anything wrong. You're just doing this for your own personal reasons, and you don't actually believe a lot of the stuff you say or what you say you believe. You're just trying to drum up controversy to sell books." So he was putting, he was telling Ethan what he believes, and he called, I guess my show out for, not for kind of doing the same thing to Dan, saying, this is why he's doing all that stuff. These are his motivations. I just wanted to put that out there that, I don't know if we're trying to do that or if we are doing that, but anyway, that's just a kind of to play devil's advocate. That's what someone had said to me, that like what we're doing here when we're talking about it is we're kind of like doing the same thing that he did or tried to do to Ethan, which is like put words into the guy's mouth, saying like we understand his motivations. I don't know his motivations because I can't figure the guy out. He's very nice and friendly and conciliatory and complimentary when you talk to him in private, and then he'll, he's like, "I love your cartoon. I think it's really cool." And then he went and he was trying to use it as a gotcha on Ethan, and then he was, saying kind of, we need to just sort of focus on the books and make things. We don't need to fight so much. And then he does a post calling us all, essentially like, idiots in CG who can't hold two thoughts in our head at the same time.
Here's the problem, right? He's under this impression that CG works off of drama. If you genuinely think that, then keep your fucking mouth shut. Because all you're doing is you're feeding this hungry beast that's absolutely going to use you as its next meal to garner, support. If you genuinely didn't want CG to exist and you actually think the only reason it exists is because we're able to drum up all of this drama, then keep your fucking mouth shut. Like, don't say anything. Let it go die in a corner. But you know what? It won't die in a corner. And that's what they're furious about. It's just like CG has what at this point I think it's maybe $4 or $5 million it's made in this year alone. If you genuinely think that they wouldn't have made any money because you didn't exist, then just go away. You say this about it, like it's like the news, right? The news always talks about I don't know, racism. Oh, racism is such a big deal. Well, then stop fucking talking about it. If you if you starve the thing, it will go away. You want it to be an issue, so you continue to bring it up, and then you blame the other person for responding to it. It's like a level of psychosis that like stupid people don't actually understand that they're a part of it. It's like two kids in the back of the car, and just like keep poking each other. It's like
Morgan Freeman actually said the same thing about racism.
Yeah, I remember Morgan Freeman saying that. Like, how do you end racism? You stop talking about it. But yeah, Steve has it right. He's also 3 years late on the CG news, and he admitted that he hasn't read any of the books. So
that was the best part.
He said all of them are terrible. All of them are bad, but one.
And
he which one have you
read Cyberfrog. I mean,
just Cyberfrog.
And he pulled out the Chromium cover, and it's like, Chromium's, it's kind of crap, and it's.
Well, you know what? There's like 8,000 people who don't think that. Do you speak for 8,000? And then he tried to go under this impression of like, do you really think that this book is worth $25 or $30 or whatever? And Ethan was like, what? Do you think Ethan is going to come out and he's going to be like, you're right, it's worth about $1.50, but I really fucked him hard, It's like, of course not.
You caught me there, Dan.
Well, especially now since it's selling, $80 or something on eBay. It's worth that much now. That's how much it's worth. How much it's worth is how much people are willing to pay for it.
I know.
So $25 was actually in hindsight a steal. So yeah, someone mentioned us in the chat as well here. You know, this here it is, Bronze Age Kid. The misunderstanding of crowdfunding campaigns. What would your comic book be worth in a shop? This is exactly right, man. These guys like him, they have this. It's like they're tethered to that old system, and you know, anything that goes against it or outside of it really. And maybe they just don't understand it, or it perturbs them. I don't know what it is, but yeah, they get a bee up their butt. And when I posted the link to that in Twitter, I got someone posted an article or something, and it was one of these guys who are, you know, in crowdfunding but not CG, and it was an article that was all about we really got to get the prices down. We've got to get these things coming out monthly. We've got to get them into stores, and it's like we really. Not doing that here. That's not the way that we're going. And look how well it's working. Maybe we kind of know what we're talking about here.
I can see that we got to get the prices down thing, but hey, that would first require a larger audience.
Yeah, there's a volume thing there.
I actually don't like that idea because I think when you charge what you think the book is worth and you pay that, then you appreciate that book on that level. If you were to lower the price too much so that you have a huge majority of people who are willing to buy it, they might think it's throwaway. They might not enjoy the book. They might get it out of whatever type of obligation. You know how many comics I buy monthly that I haven't even read yet? Because they're $4. Eventually, maybe I'll get to them. It's like they're part of the series that I get. But every single time I get a CG book in the mail, I stop what I'm doing and I start reading it. Because the cover price insinuates essentially what my value of it is. So... yeah, and the other thing too, and it's definitely something that we've seen, if you charge too little for a book or whatever your lowest cost is for your campaign, you are giving whatever wackadoo fuck job carte blanche to be a total idiot in your comment section. And I'm not going to have somebody spend $5 so they can, you know, call me out every time, you know, a page is a day late or something like that. That's ridiculous. So, you know, I think that it's better. You know, obviously you don't want to go too high, but if you go too low, you're going to get the people who don't want to be there. You know, and I think that's. I don't want.
You are. When I say getting the prices down, you know, a good follow up to that would be, you know, well, how low are you talking about? Oh, if we could expand the audience to the point where they get down to 20, you know, that'd be nice. But that'd be a huge expansion because these guys still have to make profit. I'm not going to begrudge them that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ethan was saying out of his $25, he's not even going to be making $5 on this new campaign because he's just pretty much gone insane. We're getting toys and all sorts of stuff, but you know, I guess this is a bit special. Like he's trying to make a big statement with this campaign. But man, I'm seeing it as well. You know, after all the expenses and everything. This independent game, it's not the same as the old way of doing things. You know, it's like there's people as well still tethered into, you know, that these are kind of throwaway items, you know, like what they first started out as comic books, you know, floppy comic books that are hastily drawn by cartoonists on cheap paper, and the stories are kind of silly. And, you know, the medium has evolved so far from that point that you know, if I were to go into a comic book store and spend $4 on a 22-page comic, I would feel like I'm robbing them because there's so much work that's gone into this thing, and the art is so sophisticated, and you know the coloring and the lettering and everything that goes into it. It seems like it's you know, I'm robbing them in a way. Like the price point that CG has now with $25 for a kind of a minimum 48-page. Plus a whole bunch of other stuff, and then you get that real quality print. You know, it comes packaged all nice and everything, and on top of that, you're helping support a cool independent creator. I mean, to me, that's a bargain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think too. Oh, go ahead.
Just before we continue, Metal Movies and Brewskis says back Butch Cleaver, only 17 Baskin cards left. CG. I nearly missed my little finger there. There you go.
It's the devil horns, or okay.
I was gonna say,
and what's his name? Nat. Tales from the Natverse. He said the first 100 get a sketch card. There are only 25 left, at least a couple hours ago.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
get on that.
I was going to say, as someone who's only read comics for a handful of years, I only had a year with my comic shop before the coof took it away.
Mm-hmm.
This has been all I've ever known, for the most part. And every book I've gotten in CG, I can say it was $25. Plus the shipping usually well spent, and everything I've enjoyed thoroughly. And so, when I was looking at trades back in the day, when I was trying to catch up on the old stuff, like Guardians of the Galaxy, sometimes those are on the shelf, just a trade paperback for $20.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I think it's well worth it. And as Michael said, you're supporting a cause that you believe in, you have full faith in as well.
Yeah, I think too, you are supporting the artist. In the end of the day, when you buy Batman for $4.99, you're supporting DC Comics. I mean, that's really what you're supporting, right? Like, yeah, obviously a lot of that, but they have how many people work on a Batman book? 10, right? I mean, they usually have fill-in artists, they have the editor, it goes on and on and on. So they have to take whatever that is, they have to parse that out, and then a good majority of that has to be left for the publisher. Here, you pay more, but for the most part, at the most, maybe there's 3 people working on that book, maybe 4, but a lot of times it's 1. And I think that's really important, because it's like you look at fine art paintings. Sometimes they go for $10,000-$15,000. Is it worth that? It is if you pay for it, but really, I mean, what is the product? I mean, it's, I don't know, a $40 canvas and maybe $100 worth of paints. So it's like you can't gauge what something is worth just because you're trying to make it for mass appeal. And the other problem too is anytime you have anything that's made for mass appeal, you're gonna dumb it down. It's gonna be watered down for masses, and you're not gonna really be able to get that auteur level of storytelling that you're gonna be able to get from something that's independent.
It's funny. In college, I knew a guy whose father was a fine artist, but an unknown name. And as he watched me do a painting where it was acrylic, so I was playing with texture in the blacks. It was black on black for, I was doing a silhouette, so there was, dang it. So there was, there we go. There was a reason to have that kind of thing. And, forgot to take the memory out. When I got finished with the painting after trying to do a sky in it 3 times, and I thought this is a child's painting, but it's a gift for somebody where that was appropriate to the relationship, even though I was in college, he stopped me before I gave it away and informed me that it was worth $10,000, and I couldn't believe it. I'm just like, but I'm nobody, He said, it doesn't matter. The work you put into it, there's quality. He named a whole bunch of qualities his dad had taught him, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so it's strange that in the art world, some things are priceable, I'd rather say, than worth these numbers that we just can't believe.
Mm.
And yes, a gift. Sorry.
And to bring it back to what we're doing here, I just don't even see that as a the whole it's too expensive being necessarily a problem, because I don't see the kind of 25 to 55-year-old male demographic as a problem that other people need to see. I mean, they've been trying in the mainstream industry to crack into the youth market again for going on 25 years. And the youth market is interested in video games at the moment or whatever.
And you know what? That's okay. Things shift. Things change. It's just like, I remember when I was growing up, a comic was $1.25. When it went to $1.50, I was just like distraught. I was like, all right, well, there go the gummy bears every week. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And if now a comic is anywhere from $4 to $5, and I don't know what kids' allowances are this week, but like, let's say you're making $20, $30. That's the whole thing is going to be on comics. It's just like you're pricing out the people with the smallest amount of money, and honestly, those are the people that you should be trying to get into the industry. That's why like Alterna is great. I mean, it's like you buy a comic for $1.50. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I think that's happening with all the industries. They're pricing everyone out.
Yeah. It's because he still does newsprint. You don't need high-end lamination for 11-year-olds. It's like
it's a waste. It's wasted
really,
on them.
It's not. And if you're gonna do it, then you have to price it at a point where it's offsetting what your high end or your low end stuff, right? So you're not completely you might not make as much on it. Like Sony, they actually lose money when they sell a PlayStation because they know they're going to make it back in games and that kind of stuff. So it's like,
really?
yeah, maybe you have to you price the $1.50 book at $1.75, and then it keeps your whatever you call it, the high end books just a little bit cheaper, so you can put more of them on the shelf.
And lately, one of the things DC was looking at was, as much as they are charging $4, and now it's all gimmicks to try and get that up $1. I mean, a cardstock coverage change out laminated is not worth an extra, is not costing them, anything more than maybe a dime.
Oh, well, yeah, I think that's a good point. I've actually noticed that when I've gotten ready for my print, like when I did a stretch goal when we got to 600, all the coverages went hollow foil. Because to me, it was actually a really small increase. And I was like, well, why not do it, right? If everybody gets to benefit from it. So it seemed like it was worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're one of their marketing things that I need to walk across the room in a sec, but one of their marketing things that they were looking at was, we're going to make it up with the trade paperbacks because the audience is shifting that way. So they're willing to, support 10 people on a $4 book because the trade paperbacks make up for whatever the floppies don't.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, there's a lot of like rapacious business practice. Like, Batman comes out twice a month. Why? It doesn't need to. I mean, it's crazy. It's like, there's no, like, especially like I remember growing up, I only got to go to the comic store maybe once every other week. So now I'm thinking like, okay, now I have to keep up with it. Even as someone who has a car, it's still like, it's a chore.
It used to be a once a month thing for me when I was a kid. I really like Ryan Cardinal's comment here. The youth market still read comics, but they're reading manga on free printed sites, webtoons, or the Shonen Jump library for $2.99 a month. That is so true. Like, at what point do you just accept that you've lost? You lost the youth crowd. You lost the 11 to 19-year-old market, and it's not coming back because you can't compete with manga. You just can't. It's too big now. It's too popular. You can't compete with Shonen Jump. You can't compete with all those sort of things. And just realize, okay, it's a different thing, but like, what if we actually really just targeted the guys who were already reading? And then, that's the thing. They pretend like the 25 to 55-year-old demographic will just age out and disappear. Not realizing that every year new people come into that demographic. You can target them. Target men who are our age, who like these kinds of stories, and you will win. Yes, maybe you won't be able to get back to having your comic sell, 1 million each copy. Maybe that's gone. Maybe that's done. And maybe that's why people are turning to crowdfunding now, because you can, as an individual, it's possible that you can build up 1,000 to 2,000, people audience, and exist as a creator with that audience, putting out books for that demographic, and it'll work. And as long as you keep it up. I mean, if you're really popular, you can get even bigger than that, like right. Ethan
if it wasn't working, then you wouldn't see Scott Snyder doing it, right?
Exactly.
That's why the Shaneen or whatever his name is, they're worried about it because they see that it's working and they see that mainstream is now gearing towards the CG model, right? And so it's just even more proof in the pudding and confirmation that the thing that they're holding on to so desperately is clearly going away. And so what did this guy say? He was just like, well, comics have sold more now. They're doing better now than they've ever did. He couldn't give one number, one analytic. Yeah. I was like, I can just say that. I mean, I can say anything. I'm just like, the air is cleaner now than it's ever been in history. It's just like, well, what is it? I don't know. You'd have to go look. And I don't have any stats right now to prove that. But if I just say it and then accuse you for being, I don't know, an asshole because you don't agree with me, now all of a sudden I think I'm winning the argument. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a money kind of argument as well. Like you could say, this many comic books sales, this much money this year, and then you could include all manga and digital and trades and all that sort of stuff, and not talk about the fact that, okay, well, they're selling at a much higher price point now, and there's been inflation and all that, and just kind of look back to what they used to sell in just the floppies back in some certain time. And I feel like that's what a lot of them do when they try and make these arguments. They're just complete like maths, funny maths and weird maths and everything like that. But the fact of the matter is, they're not selling 1 million copies on the big books. I think that Three Jokers one sold a lot. But again, that's kind of proving that's the point that Ethan made. They're the stories that are actually popular because it's targeted towards us, guys like us, guys who our age, and and have that, who like those kinds of stories. And I like how Dan said, well, a 13-year-old girl could like that. It's like, come on, man. Come on,
you're not even listening. Yeah.
Well, the one thing about the events is, let's just let's go back in time to the 90s. Events were frustrating, but real crossovers were just temporary crossovers. Even DC would get it done within a month between their 4 different Superman titles. I think they had, at one point, it wasn't just Superman Action, but it was Superman Adventures Action and Superman Man of Steel. But it was once a month for each title, and then twice a year they'd run where you'd have to get the entire month, and because they'd cross over just twice a year, 1 month. So you'd buy 3 extra. If you read only one of them, you'd buy 3 extra books twice a year. Well,
yeah,
events were the thing, and you guys probably know Marvel's events better than I do. So this is where DC is now, is that they see Marvel doing it with everything's an event and you can barely breathe between them. Or that is, as a writer, you can barely breathe between them, and that's what they're starting in on. Only this, so they just had the Joker War, which is a Batman, Nightwing, something else, and then they have tie-ins to the event. It's really gross. But then the Three Jokers is a separate book completely. It's not one of those books, and I think they're double sized. They're like almost 48 pages.
I think the other thing too is talking about inflation. How many years have you heard? The what was it? Gone with the Wind, the number 1 movie ever, but adjusted for inflation, right? So it's just like, it
made like 300 million or something like that.
Right. It's like, but when you look at the reason it was still so high is because people saw it over and over and over, and there were less people back then. So, obviously comics back in the day were going to sell, they were cheaper, but they were still selling tons of them. I mean, like when X-Men was at its height, they were selling 100,000 issues a month. That's nuts. And they only had 2 comics. They had X-Men and Uncanny X-Men. That was it, So and now it's just like, I mean, what does X-Men sell now? 27,000 maybe. I mean, it's almost nothing. I mean, in comparison, on top of the fact that it's just fucking the same regurgitated. Oh, now they're fighting Apocalypse again. Oh, Wolverine's old again. I'm just like, Jesus Christ! Like even
now, Wolverine's gay.
I know, even better, right? Let's take all the cigars out. Let's not make him anything manly or interesting. And you look at this Joker War. I read the whole thing today because I could go to XO Comics. You can find anything you want for free. And I thought the art was incredible. Some of the best art I've seen in a long time. However, the story was like, it was just cribbing from Arkham Knight, Batman Year One. It was just like anything that you've seen in another Batman comic, you've seen in this one. And I was just like, so that's it, right? I mean, literally, this is supposed to be Batman in, I don't know, his 40s or 50s, and he's doing the same shit. There's the crime alley scene. There's the scene with the Mark of Zorro. He goes to Axis Chemicals. I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like this, there's not one fresh concept in anything.
No, because they have no talent anymore.
Well, thanks for spoiling it for me.
Joker loses and Batman wins. The end.
Oh.
No, there's no talent anymore. That's the same with Hollywood, and it's the same now with video games, and it's comic books now too. There's no talent. That's why they have to take like an established character and, oh, look, he's white here. Let's make him a woman, or let's make him black, or let's make him, instead of creating a new character and going, look, brand new character, this is awesome. No, they can't do that because they don't have the talent to do it.
Well,
None of these people are good enough.
They have Scott Snyder, but they have him working overtime in a basement somewhere to churn out a sequel to, their death metal book. But like, The Court of Owls was great. But like now, I mean, he did a sequel to that and no one cared about it. No one really cares about death metal the way they first thought that DC metal was good. So it's just like, I still don't think that, like you said, it's just like if you keep regurgitating what you already have, it's like, what are they going to do the next 3 years? They're going to kill another Robin. I can put fucking money down on that.
Yeah.
Let's not give him too much. I'm sorry, Poland was going to say something.
I think he was testing his mic. He's having mic issues. It's something to do with his air conditioning.
Yeah. Okay. I think one of the. Did I just lose my train of thought? Let's not give them speaking of thought, let's not give them too much credit for being intellectual the way you're describing. I think some of the emotional reaction that Sheenan demonstrated was just purely. I'm sorry. I only listened to 10 minutes of it because I didn't understand why Ethan was giving his life to this.
The costume, it was too funny.
It's kind of funny, actually.
Anyway, some of the things that Sheenan was showing about himself just didn't make a whole ton of sense to me in terms of all the crap. It's like somebody who just says, "This is different, this is foreign, therefore I can't understand it. What are you doing?" And then so they can't accept it, they can't tolerate it, and they'll make up any intellectual reason from there when really their start is emotional.
Sheenan didn't have any talking points past what he would have hanging out with a friend at a bar, listening, being part of an echo chamber.
Exactly.
Right. It was just a lot of like confirmation bias, like, oh, well, you think this and I think this. Like, we don't even need to go into it until you talk to someone who's against it. And then it was just like, oh, well, I'll just overlook that because it doesn't fit my narrative. It's just like he didn't come with one point.
No. And every time Ethan busted him on those, he threatened to end the stream right there.
Yeah. He was like, oh, well, that's because you're just trying to make money.
Yeah.
It's not a sin.
Like that's the thing. The comic books being better now than ever. I would have said, "Where's your proof? Let's see your data," because every data I see shows it's not.
Mm.
And he couldn't have answered. He couldn't answer a single question when he was challenged.
It's starting to come to pass. I've been making this prediction since I first, started doing commentary videos. That the sheer, forget ideology, the sheer economics of it is going to force people into this model that we're doing. If you're a real talent, because of the shrinking audience of floppies and people in comic book stores and everything, and like I said, they got massive overheads. They got huge teams working on books, and then you end up only selling, what'd you say, like 27,000 books or something. Something has to give. And you're just not going to be able to make as much money as a professional working in the mainstream as the generation before you did. It's going to have to start shrinking someway.
Well, and think
so
about
these guys are going to say, well, look at Ethan. Like,
yeah,
look at the David Finch is going to say, fuck, I mean, look at how much money that guy's making. Why aren't I making that much money?
And think about it like this too. You got podcasting, right? Podcasting was born out of the radio, but now you could do your own stream. You can have your own conversation, and you don't need to be hosted by a radio. You don't need to go on the air and have, however many watts for people to listen to you. And then eventually, once podcasting came out, you had the people who got in sort of on the ground floor, and now they have 2-3 million subs maybe on YouTube. And now you saw a huge influx, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, of YouTubers coming up, starting their own channel. Some of them do well. A lot of them fall off. I would say, at one point, I read something in the New York Times. It was 100 new podcasts a day that were coming out because everybody fucking thinks that their opinion matters. And which it doesn't.
Case in point.
Yeah. Well, the problem was that it was mostly people in their 20s. They were coming out and they were like, I'm going to tell you what I know about horror movies, which was really just them watching a bunch of DVD commentary and reading Wikipedia. But they didn't actually have any experience. And now you're going to get a couple of guys who were in on the ground floor with it makes sense that comic books would leave the mainstream storefront and come to distribution model that was based off of the internet, where you're actually dealing one-on-one, with the creator itself. So yeah, you're going to have people that are going to do well because they got in now, or maybe even a year or two ago. Especially, I would suspect. I mean, we see new CGers all the time, but outside of that, Kickstarter's getting a lot of people doing comic books there. So it's especially with digital illustration. Now I don't even need to hire a colorist. I can do my own lettering. So as it becomes more of an insular based art form, I think you're going to see more. Like I see more and more every day another, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook, an ad for a comic book publisher, one that didn't exist a week ago, right? So it's clearly a bigger market that's coming up. So I wouldn't be surprised to find out that maybe, I don't know about Marvel and DC, but maybe some of the smaller ones, maybe IDW, right? Maybe Dark Horse might end up doing exclusively digital ship model, not digital but like you have to order through online, maybe in the next 5 to 10 years.
The Berserker comic, was that Boom or someone?
Yeah, that's a great example.
And there, that started a little conversation as well. Should this be happening? I just think it's going to start becoming inevitable. If you have an audience, and some of these companies do, an audience on YouTube at least, I think they could do pretty well with it. But
and I think another reason that the left hates COMICSGATE so much is it is pure unadulterated capitalism. And especially if you have some type of socialist Marxist kind of bent on your whole fucking existence, this
and they can't control it.
In the face of it. Oh yeah,
it's all about control for those people.
You can't censor me. I can do whatever the fuck I want. If I want to have a big dick on my first page, that's what it's going to be.
That's the other thing I was thinking about Sheenan. Not the big dick on your first page, but woo, that was close. Woo. The nearest antecedent to the pronoun. Whoa, my. Anyway, that's what I was thinking about Sheenan was what I combined with what I said earlier. They see something that's foreign to them, and it's outside their realm, and so they're just denial kicks in, and they say no before they can think critically, and they don't think critically.
Well, a lot of them can't think critically, and they don't want to think critically because they've been told what to think their whole fucking life.
Yes,
you've got to echo Skip.
Yeah, it's easier not to think critically. I've seen that.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, imagine if it was the flip. Obviously, right? Because it's all identity politics. It's all tribalism. If, for whatever reason, liberals so totally embraced capitalism and they were like, we're going to start doing our own crowdfunding and we're going to have a whole little group of people who are going to, this, that, and the other. You think they'd be as against it? Or do you think they'd be trying to tear it down? Absolutely not. I mean, there's no way.
Did you read what Camilla Zhang said in her tweets to Ethan?
I'm tired of the Camillas. We got Harris, we got Khan, we got Zhang.
The woman who was it's Camilla is the SJW name. No, yeah, she was the Kickstarter commissar who then transitioned to sort of like trying to present herself as, if you want to do a big crowdfund, get me on board as a consultant and I'll help you, reach the stars with you. And Ethan got in with her on Twitter, and there was a big thread. Yeah, and she said sort of the same kind of thing, and he said, I'm in this to make money. I'm in this as a business. I'm in this to sell a product to customers and, that sort of stuff. And her response was like, obviously paraphrasing here, how can we possibly, help make the world a better place?
Oh, go fuck yourself.
And if we don't have diversity as an agenda in the products that we're doing or something like that. That was what she said. I mean, that's her mindset of what comics, needs to include.
You know what the problem is? A lot of these, especially these SJW types, they grew up binging. right? You can go to Netflix. You could watch every fucking episode of The Sopranos in one night if you can watch them all at once, right? Or a week, whatever the time takes. You don't have to wait for anything. If I want to download a video game, it's there like that. Even Amazon, I can get stuff the next day. So you have this entire generation of people, and they are, on a moment's notice, they can get whatever they want. And what the problem is, well, twofold. The first problem is they have no worries. So now, because it's
the problem is they have no problems.
Yeah, they have part of the human condition is they need to victimize themselves and feel like, well, I got to fight for something. And the other problem is
they're all spoiled little rich kids usually.
If I hate to say it, even if you're poor, you're spoiled. You are, because you can have pretty much anything you want. I mean, outside of a really nice car or like something that actually is physically expensive, you're not.
Well, it's all relative.
No,
the
poorest person in the U.S. is the richest person in every other country.
I mean, if right now, if you have no money, you can still use a toilet. Well, if you were a king 400 years ago, I mean, it's just like, the type of escalation is ridiculous. So there's that. But then on top of the fact that they are, binging, right? And there's this instant gratification. They genuinely think they're going to see change in their lifetime. So when it doesn't happen overnight or over a week or whatever it is, they feel like they have to double down harder because they're like, well, I need to expect to see that, not realizing that, you know what? Change happens over hundreds of years, and it actually already got pretty fucking good to where we are now. And now, because there's nothing else to complain about, you're looking to change it that doesn't need to really be reworked. Sorry, that's my Shane spiral.
I know that was a pretty good spiral, but
it's okay.
Skip, have you worked out your audio yet?
I didn't want to ruin the spiral. Am I sounding all right now?
You were like, you come in, it's like silence, and then you come in, it's like.
It's like an AC. Or you want a boat?
We got an AC. He's in
like
Arizona. Seems all right now. Is he loud, or is that just me? I don't know. I think you're fine. I think you're fine.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
No, you're good now. That you're good. You're good
now.
Welcome to the show. Welcome, Skip.
So yeah,
how's it going?
My buddy even complained, Camel. Sorry, Skip. I just walked all over you.
You're good.
My buddy even complained, Camel, about how long it's going to take him to download those video games, and it's a few hours.
And here's another thing. Okay.
Respiral.
Okay. I feel like Joe Pesci.
Love you, Skip.
Yeah. Sorry, Skip. Let me finish this up.
No. Camel spiral.
These people, go look at the mugshots of Antifa. These are the ugliest goblin people you've ever seen in your life.
I know where this is going.
He knows because I've done it before, but I'm going to do it again because we have a bigger audience. I am completely under the impression that these people act as much as they do because they're virtue signaling. The only real reason to virtue signal is because you're trying to get fucking pussy. That's it. You're literally trying to get laid. That's all. Or if you're on the other side, then you're trying to get some cock. And
they're trying to get pussy too. Let's be real.
So, like, if you're an ugly, hideous person and you can't cope with that fact, there are plenty of ugly people out there who realize they're ugly and they date in their league and they're normal people. But if you can't deal with that, or especially you look at these like middle of the road college professors who didn't get ass in high school, and now that's why they have to sign these fucking vows. They're like, I'm not going to hit on my kids. So they're they're genuinely like they're sexually frustrated. And this Camilla's what's her, the
Camilla Zhang
starter bitch,
she's one of them. She's a.
I was on Shane's show about 2 weeks ago, and he told a story where apparently she was upset that she couldn't get back with her ex-boyfriend. Now, she dumped her boyfriend because she wanted to try new things. And then when she went back to him, he was like, well, no, you dumped me. I'm moving on. So it's like, again, the only backstory that we have
she's the victim.
Is that A, you think you're a victim. B, we already know you're not attractive. And C, now she's having to live up to whatever, idiocracy that she created for herself. So you think about like all of these blue-haired wackadoo SJWs with muffin tops and giant fucking grotesque features or whatever they have going on. They can't get any. So that's literally all it is. It's just a bunch of people who can't get laid and are pissed that more people, because everybody knows especially if you have some money, you have options, and that's the last thing they want. If COMICSGATE was making $40,000 a year, do you think they'd give a shit? No, they wouldn't care. They would be like, they could be as misogynist, sexist as we perceive them to be. No one gives a shit.
I'm gonna bring him up. No, I think you were onto something. I agreed with that when you said it the first time. I'm going to show this because this is just sort of proof of concept here.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
God.
So these are the people who stand against us. These are the people who call us Nazis and bigots and full of hate. And
This is the Dick Tracy villain roster right here. You know, you got Flat Top, you got you got Babyface. Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous. I love this chubby what's his? He looks like a half Harley Quinn here. I mean, they got one dude in drag.
Harley Quinn.
I mean, what the
well, apparently they do the drag and they have the weird like this guy's okay. Let me see. So. Where
What's the one with the shave right down the middle of her head?
Okay, so yeah, they do these things because they like so they'll paint their hair different colors on different sides and everything, or they put on makeup. Apparently it confuses facial recognition.
Oh, is that
that's the word on the street? But
Well,
I mean that could just be an excuse.
I mean, this
Second
guy up
from
here-
the
stupid?
right down one. All
Yeah,
right,
this guy.
that dude. Yeah, you ain't confusing facial recognition ever. Okay.
the pedophilia of Hollywood.
That's a
Square.
one.
does look
That's
like
a
a guy
one
from
of a
Dick Tracy.
kind. Yeah, this is what I said. I said this was Sierra said the top left one is definitely the brains. He said like this is the only kind of this is the weird thing. This is the only normal looking person in the entire lineup here, and he's a complete like pedo looking dude. Right?
Except for, yeah, that porn stash he's got going on there.
Right? I mean, that's no like I'm not saying like if this guy gave himself a normal haircut, and you know, and took off those glasses and shaved that mustache, he'd be a normal looking guy. But he's chosen to have this sort of you know pedo disguise thing going.
The other thing, he has who since 1989 has had a mustache like that? That's not a thing anymore.
He looks like when the Little Rascals dress like adults to go into like a liquor store.
Yeah, so he said that's the brains of the whole operation, and I was like, what? Not Megamind here? This guy?
Flat Top.
And then someone responded. It was Pixel Trader. Said, like,
There you go.
Perfect.
tell me that isn't him. That's him.
Yep, that's him.
I mean, I remember seeing this and being really sort of disturbed as a kid, but I liked it. But it was disturbing when I watched it. But if I saw this guy in an Antifa, I mean, we have really lineup. I would say, yeah, that looks pretty normal. All he has to do is tease up his hair to be square at the top, and
That
he's
looks
there.
like he's his son.
And like, and so here's the thing: you go to like any Trump rally, anything, you're going to see the Barbie blonde, the picturesque family all the time, right? And if you do see someone who's overweight or whatever, 100% chance they're almost always with a counterpart, right? Because they've accepted their lot in life and they're fine with it, and they're not trying to fight some type of establishment because they don't get any fucking pussy, you know? So like, you see. When you like show me anytime I've seen this, it was a meme that was going around for a while. It was this blonde girl, very pretty, won all these pageants, and then she got arrested and she looked like a frumpy Harley Quinn. And it was just like, at what point did you just give up on life and then started blaming other people for your problems?
Well, look, I mean, I'm a solid believer that the reason the men are the way they are and the way that they do things and the way they behave is because ultimately they are trying to get laid. So if you had, and even if they're not trying to get laid right now, just that notion of men try to get laid and that sort of imprints on us as who we are. And, you know, even if you've got a wife or something, well, now that impulse is still within you. You know, so you still want to create things and do things and you know, build things and be impressive. Be an impressive person, essentially. And I mean, if you look like one of those people, I mean, the the things that you would have to do to convince someone to, get naked with you would be, how do you even begin?
Well, I think you actually just stumbled across something that I haven't even considered, but like me, I haven't even thought of. But like, you think about like, people like the real talent, not real talent, but like actually creative people. They want to make something, right? They want to have kids. How many of these people are making garbage, right? They're not actually, or they're not having kids. So you figure. I wonder if there's a correlation between the two. Between it's like I can create, I want to create, versus I can't create, and now I have to ride the coattails of somebody else because I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
Are you guys telling me, rolling back a bit, sorry about that. You make a good point that about wanting to have kids and they're just not fitting in with the norm. But are you telling me that the reason they look the way they do in their mug shots isn't because of Andy No shows those mug shots, but then he also shows pictures next to those mug shots where they're dressed up just the same for a night out. And before I go on with an idea that I had, are you telling me that they color their hair funny for the mug shots to try and throw off facial recognition, and that's it? Simple story.
I don't think so. I think it's part of it's part of a thing. But I mean, that's what they say. But Sheila Allen brought up a thing here that the girls, you see these all over the place, and it's kind of, it's heartbreaking as a parent to see them. They do it on TikTok. They do it on TikTok where they show a little a photo gallery of them in high school, and they're beautiful girls, fit. They've got the long beautiful hair. They look great. And then they show the now shot, and they're this fat, hideous, that the skin's all splotchy. They've dyed their hair some strange color, and it's I think it's part of like being in that tribe is ugliness is seen as a virtue because
beauty is seen as anti-virtuous, not a vice.
Yeah,
just like
it's a form of privilege, is what
elitist or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
and I know I'm making up words when I say anti-virtuous. I'm also stealing a little bit from RJ. So in college, I was goofing around with people and had fun, and we trimmed me a mohawk. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Rob, because I'm not
kind of like Rob. Yeah,
not going to degrade. Although mine was wider, but whatever.
It's not a competition. Yeah.
At least it wasn't a reverse mohawk.
I mean, I win really easy. Yeah. By the way, that I hate to say it, but when I saw that reverse mohawk, that was a what's his name? The comedian who got in a lot of trouble with women by giving them drugs.
Bill Cosby?
Yes, that was part of a Bill Cosby routine. His son came downstairs with a reverse mohawk shaved in. So anyway, I ended up with what my mom called an Iroquoian haircut, and we were just it was just something goofy for fun, like a lot of the girls in the near punk scene, might change their colors once in a while. Just everything was a lark. We didn't think that much of it. And then somebody stopped me and said, it puts out a signal that you're looking for help, that something is wrong. And
that's what my 8-year-old says. She's like, she picks up on that. She says, why do these people, dye their hair bright blue or something? It seems to me like they're sad they want people to think they're special. That's what she says to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you have it exactly right. As Sheila says, pretty privileged. That's it. Like being privileged is a sin. That's like the original. That's like one of the original sins. You've got to kind of.
Being pretty, you mean, not privileged. Well, I guess.
Well, being pretty is one of the privileges. Like being attractive is a privilege, and you don't want to be a privileged person because then you're oppressor. So you want to be in the oppressed group. So therefore, you have to make yourself fat and ugly. And
well, you have to, love what you've given. Like, don't aspire to be any. Don't go to the gym. They're just making money off of you. Some whatever bullshit. It's just like, let them love you for who you are, which is total bullshit. You're allowed to be attracted to the person that you're with. Otherwise, they date my fucking computer.
Yeah, we had that earlier. We had that discussion earlier. One of the lifter guys that I'm on Twitter with, he put out there, why do you work out? to all of his cohorts, followers, and whatnot. And we got answers back, and my answers were, some people were like, I'm trying to get laid. One is, I just want to be jacked, stuff like that. And a lot of them were just health. I just like being strong. It's fun. Just those types of answers. But it wouldn't be, because I'm privileged to be strong or something like that. Mine was future health, and I can be more helpful to people now with strength than I can with weakness. So I'd rather be able to do that than be a wuss. If I just quit hurting myself. So anyway, there's nothing like privilegey about it. These people aren't vain who are answering.
It's literally like anti-evolution. It's like, I don't want to be the best, most fit person out there. I just want to sit, again, it goes down to the whole, just like instant gratification. I don't need to do anything. It's going to come to me. And when ass doesn't come to me, that's their fucking fault. And that's, I think, the biggest problem that I feel like a lot of people have talked about it, but it seems to be pretty plain as day.
Mm-hmm.
Like Antoine said there, he said about some of them getting these implants under their skins and different things. Where are they getting the money for that?
Mommy.
These are not poor kids that are doing this stuff to themselves. Where are they getting the money for implants and plastic surgery and that kind of stuff?
Their monthly riot funds.
Yeah. But it's like these people are so fake. It's beyond, it's beyond like intelligence with some of these people.
And then of course they need to justify it. Oh, well, it's, systemic racism. It's this, the elitist.
It's like
it's the capital.
They make up new words for everything. Oh, this. Oh, well, we don't have a word for that yet. Oh, let's make up a new word. We got to have a new word so everybody can attach themselves to that word.
Mm-hmm.
I saw on the Joe Rogan show, he had these guys on, and they put this paper together and they sent it to a college to get approved, and it was about how working out is bad for you. And because it was a super left college, they went with it and they published it until they realized that they were getting like punked, and then they had to retract it.
Those guys put out a ton of fake papers.
Oh, so you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it was hilarious. If you go, I can't remember what they're called, but if you ever see it on YouTube, they haven't taken it.
Is that Helen Puckrose? Helen Pluckrose, and
it was two dudes. I don't know their names, but
You're talking about the people who put out fake papers.
Yeah.
It
was two dudes and a woman. Yeah, and that was Helen Pluckrose. I recently
watched that episode. It's amazing. They did one about how it was something about having a dog made you gay or something like that, or I can't remember what it was. And they totally went with it because
having a dog makes you racist.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, then
if you're a white person with a dog, you're racist.
Then they also did one on encouraging homosexuality in dogs at the dog park and stuff like that.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah. Yeah, and they bought it, and it was just like, oh well, because it supports our narrative. Oh, one of them was how like getting fat should be an Olympic sport.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stefani Renee, are you still in the chat? Can I show or talk about those messages that you sent me? Because that would be a good discussion, I think. He sent me some messages on Twitter, but I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about them. Because it pertains to CG and how we're perceived out there in the wider world, in this scary world.
Well, speaking of that, like how you're perceived, did you see, work CG, they call, you're all the isophobes for CG. Did you see the story that broke today in Bounding to Comics about those two employees at Rooster Teeth?
No.
They, two employees, Adam Kovic and Ryan Haywood, were both arrested following leaked nude photos and accusations of stuff on their computers they were grooming underage fans.
Jeez.
What's Rooster Teeth?
It's a digital cartoon network that does ultra wokey stuff.
It's another Funimation.
Yeah.
And Rooster Teeth were some of the employees that came out attacking CG.
Have you heard of Red versus Blue, Mike?
No.
It was like a Halo cartoon that they made.
No.
That was Rooster Teeth.
Yeah, that was what got them to start.
Well, look, going back all the way, going back, and I want to say all the way, I say go all the way back to oh cool, he says I can talk. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't want to show it because it would just kind of give you the general vibe about it. Cool. Yeah, like, going back to Gamergate, every single person, if you hung around when that was all going down, every single person who was really vocal and came out swinging against Gamergate ended up being some kind of weirdo, pedo, sexual assaulter, really like skeletons in their closet stuff. And it just continued on ever since.
You know that it was a campaign against speaking out because there was an SVU episode where they did a Gamergate thing.
I was there. I remember. Yeah,
and I remember watching this recently because I was like, they made a Gamergate episode, and they totally turned all of these people into the victim. There was like some crazy collection of white supremacists that were like targeting them, and they had like Riddler type technology to put their fucking face on Times Square. And I was like, this is ridiculous. But you know what? There are like 40, 50-year-old moms at home that are watching this. And they're thinking this is what it is. So they're spinning this narrative that, okay, if your son is into this, then, he's a problem and we need to fix that. And it's really, really dangerous. And it's literally almost the same that you see from things like Sesame Street. It's programming, but just for an older audience.
Yeah, it's the same with all of these mainstream comics people that came out attacking CG. And now look, how many of them, they've been accused of rape, they've been accused of all these things. They had to come out with that pledge to not rape their coworkers. I'm like, wait, what? But I thought CG, that were they the bad people? Wait, what?
Well, at the very least, you've got, these fat old men hiring cute, young, inexperienced women to work with them.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, and it's not just one guy who does that, or it's like there's a whole team of them out there, and that's why the whole milkshake thing took off, and everyone saw it right there out in daylight. What's actually going on here, and that's sort of the minimum that they do. And we know all the kinds of craziness that's gone on since then. Even to this day, I think they're talking about it on Dale's show or someone's show. Some new people being accused of sexual impropriety in the workplace and all that sort of stuff. All the same people that come out and attack us, and it's just non-stop projection.
And I think that's just. Oh, go ahead.
I was just like, if you have a clear conscience, and you're not a weirdo, and you don't do weird things to the women that you work with, or whatever, and someone comes up and tells a raunchy joke, even if you think it's inappropriate to say it in the context that it was said, you just kind of go, oh yeah, or maybe you do think it's appropriate and you laugh at it. What you don't do is say, grab the pitchforks, let's go, we need to take this awful misogynist down, we need to protect the women. Like, that is just so far beyond what a normal response to men being men is, that it has to make you wonder, like, what is this guy shielding? What is he hiding? What skeletons does he have in his closet that he feels the need to project to the world how safe and virtuous and non-threatening he is?
Well, also,
it's always accuse your enemies of what you're really doing.
Right.
And you've seen it with all of them now, with mainstream comics. Now these guys from Rooster Teeth, all these people that were doing the attacking are all the ones that are actually really doing the bad things.
And I think, like, you look at, it's not just that; it's like insulation, right? So these guys have been in the industry for, let's say, modestly 40 years, maybe 30. They've, I wouldn't say almost failed upwards, but kind of in a way, because they never retired. Comics blew up, especially around 2008 when Dark Knight really brought comics to like this like massive public awareness where everyone, if you were a comic fan, you had a hardcover of The Dark Knight Returns or some bullshit. And so they stayed there, right? They stayed in the industry, and they ended up hiring people, specifically minorities, because a minority was pretty much just happy to be there, right? They were happy to have their name on a book, and then they were like, well, we can placate them. We'll pretend that it's virtuous to put their fucking stories in here, even though we're going to kill the industry, really. And mostly, I would suspect, because they didn't want younger white guys coming in and usurping their power that they feel like they had earned, and because they hadn't gotten what they wanted out of it, or they became incredibly greedy, were unwilling to give up. Because there's not, I mean, how many heads of Marvel are black? How many heads of DC Comics are, the Chinese or Asian or whatever, POC minority you can think of. None of them. Literally none of them. You still have the same fucking white guys all at the top, and they've been there since I was reading comics in the 90s.
It's all tokenism.
It totally
so
is, yeah. And they don't, and that, and now people are starting to recognize it, and they're getting called out for it. So, like Todd said, you accuse your enemy of what you're doing yourself.
Didn't DC just bring in that new head, and then he has no experience in comic books at all?
Oh,
he was
yeah.
esports guy for Blizzard. Yeah. What is that? Why would you hire somebody to run your comic books division when he has no experience even doing anything with publishing or comic books?
Right, because they want to run it like a board, like the people who run fucking Taco Bell. It's like, have they ever it's not like they have a long history of running taco carts and now they're going to bring their expertise to tacos.
Right.
No, that was their job, and that was exactly where they landed in life. And then also you had these idiotic gripes like Joe Quesada saying, "I'll never fucking work with DC." Pretty much giving up this. I remember in the 90s, every single time a crossover came out, I was there day one. I mean, they had the Amalgam, Marvel vs. DC. That was some good shit. And now
Skip knows they're the only DC books I've ever read.
Oh, that's
the crossover ones.
But they were able to get people into the shop, and it was kind of cool. It was like, wow, they haven't done anything like this, and they haven't done anything since JLA meets. It wasn't X-Men. I think it was Avengers. That was
Avengers.
15 years ago, and that was it. And it was just like, okay, I mean, how much money are you leaving on the table because you're being an asshole? I mean, that's ridiculous.
You mentioned Joe Quesada, and I've been working with DC, and I hope I'm not totally butchering this. After Amalgam, Joe Quesada committed some kind of violation that made, I just put the screws in the wrong order, that made, what's his name? Dan DiDio say, I'm never working I'm never doing Amalgam again till Quesada's gone.
Yeah.
And it's Quesada who's sitting there projecting, saying, well, then I'll never work with DC.
Right. Also, Joe Quesada, if I understand my history, was pretty much forced out of DC. So he had a gripe, because what happened was when Batman 500 came out, he designed the Azrael costume, and he leaked it. And he kept saying it never came from him, but pretty much everybody knew the only person it could have come from was Quesada. So then at that point, moving forward, Quesada was out. So he had a gripe ever since, when did that come out, 92, 93? So, yeah.
Watching Blue, aka Doctor Whom, fix this computer contraption is giving me some PTSD here. I have a cracked my iPhone. My 3-year-old decided to carry it out and throw it onto the concrete the other day, so we had to get a new screen shipped in. And if you've ever tried to swap out a screen on an iPhone, you got to take it apart, and there's 100 little screws and all the little things in order. And it took me an hour to kind of get it all apart and put the new thing on, and all the button, the camera, the speaker, the everything. It's all so tiny. I get it all together, and then I was like, oh, these last freaking things, they don't fit in right, and I took it off and ripped it, the little connector. I was like, oh, I spent an hour on it.
Here's an
I
anecdote.
was so angry.
Here's an anecdote for you then. What can the camera see? I can't zoom in much, but I have another one of these, and what's taken so long with this is I don't have a spare battery, so I had to dismantle the other one the same as this one because the battery is on the other side of the motherboard. This motherboard had a dead battery. This unit I'm building for someone else. The other unit has had a problem before, so I'm not giving it away, which is the anecdote I'm getting to. So I had to take the other unit apart to take its newer battery and put it in here. So I've dismantled 2 of these in a row. There's a reason I turned my camera on, but I'll give that at the end. What happened with the other one, there's one of these little press-in connectors right here, and it attaches the fan assembly. Now, when I first tried to take one of these apart, I did not have the video in front of me with the instructions in it, and so I knew, I'm sorry, I had it, but I wasn't looking at it, I was listening to it, and it said gently lift, so it come like on the wire side. You never gank things by their wires, and you lift, and these little, I mean, they're flat. It's a rectangle like that, and then the next thing sits on top of the flat like that. You gently lift, and it comes out. And I'm like, okay, gently lift, and I'm like back here trying to gently lift it out, and I've got this grill out of the way and all that, and I can't. And what ended up happening was I was like, is it stuck? Is it just stuck? And I sheared off of the motherboard all the pins that connect to the fan right there. So I had to send that to Manhattan to that Lewis guy and have him resolder the pins on that one. So that's why the other motherboard is staying with me forever.
What is that you're fixing?
It's a 2010 Mac Mini.
It did look familiar. The old Mac Mini. There you go. Yeah,
I'm giving it to somebody because it'll go up to OS 10.13 and they need that'll let them run Firefox so they can be modern and whatever. And so I'm just getting an SSD in it and upgrading the memory to maximum.
Bronze Age Kids has asked, have you tried turning it on and off again? That could be
not yet. Let me get right on that right now.
So I mentioned earlier that Stefani had sent me some messages. So this is, you'll know that he had an issue the other day. I reached out to Stefani. He said, it wasn't like his big job or anything. It was just a job he was on that he was kicked off of because he's launched his book now and it's more out in the open that he's a CG guy. Because I guess before then he was really just showing up in chats. So we all knew he was CG because we saw him in the chats. There he is, right there. But I guess the greater comics world didn't because he was just kind of tweeting out, oh, here's my book and everything. Although I do remember he used to tweet out good morning CG and good morning to Phil. Hello
hey,
there, Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Hi.
We just no, you stay here, Camel. Enough of that.
Camel,
yeah, so he just.
What's up, Camel Moon?
You leave.
Like I said, I'm not going to show these things, but I just give you the general gist of what the interaction. So this is apparently a friend of his, and he said he's like giving him that initial thing. I don't know if you guys ever had this. It's like the warning. It comes to you like, hey, just a word of warning. I see you're hanging out with CG. I would really kind of discourage you from doing that. It could be really bad for you. In terms of getting more work and getting your name out there, so that's what he gets, and Stefani is like, what's going on, and he shared with him, it looks like a Daily Beast article called #ComicsGate, how an anti-diversity harassment and blah 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 blah, and then he gets back to him and says, they don't believe in inclusion of different racial representations. They don't like women in comics, and they don't want LGBTQ creators. They don't want comics to be political or non-white. We're toxic nerd boys.
Wow.
So that's what we look like to some people out there.
If they, who cares? Like you only care. Because
that's what they care about.
Right. Well, that's obviously what they're gonna spin. But like, all of a sudden, you're the most altruistic person. You should join them. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's just so preposterous. It's so transparent too.
All anyone needs to do at any point is just check out what CG is up to. But of course, they're never going to do that.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not like they ever have any, like, well, at this episode, at this time point, yada, 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 this happened and that happened. No, it's just like this broad generalization.
Camel, earlier you mentioned how a lot of these kids, grew up a certain way and whatnot, and instant gratification and all that. And that's when I thought I'd turn on my camera and say, none of them would ever be doing this. Okay.
yeah. Sheila pointed that out earlier. Like, they're not designed to, be repaired. And then as well, people don't even bother repairing things anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Now, I know a lot of them have hobbies where, yes, they might actually literally be into doing this kind of thing, but we were talking about, it takes patience. It's not instantly gratifying. It actually takes research, things like that. And that's the only reason I turned my camera on, was just to give an example of, yeah, they don't do this shit. So
well done.
They have someone else do it for them, and they'll
fixing 10-year-old computers.
Yeah.
What are you up to tonight, Phil?
Hi, Phil.
Nothing, man. I worked tonight, and I went and had some food. I did the Frega draw along. His draw.
Oh, yeah.
was Killer Clowns. So I did kind of my best rendition of Sweet Tooth.
Oh, nice.
Twisted Metal.
Did he invite you, or did you ask to go on?
I didn't go on. I mean, Freg is my boy.
He just drew along in the chat.
Draw along, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to ask to go on Freg's show, Camel.
He doesn't need to beg.
La la.
Yeah, Phil gets on a lot of big channels all the time. He's just a really nice guy, and people really.
Phil's all, when you're me,
appreciate him
you don't
when
have
he
to
comes
ask.
I was gonna ask, and then he literally said, like, one episode, like, "Yeah, I only am inviting people." I was like, "Well, I'll delete that text."
I think it's my boyish charm. Is why Greg has me on. He also grooms me. He sent me a picture of his belly button once.
Yeah.
I think that was the surgery scar.
It's a slow burn until eventually.
Either way, yeah.
He was still on drugs. A lot of us got that picture.
Todd, but you were talking about the Rooster Teeth guys. I didn't hear. That was the first time I heard about that. I used to watch their podcasts and stuff all the time. Haywood, the running joke is everyone would call him "Hey, would you blow me?" Because his last name's Haywood. So maybe he uses that line. But that's pretty horrible.
Apparently he's using it, yeah. Because it was in, like I said, it was in Bounding into Comics today.
Damn,
they both got arrested.
I looked up the other guy, Adam.
Serious, huh?
Face, because I couldn't remember his what he looked like. But he was Adam Kovic was a big Machinima guy who was at Machinima and then went to Rooster Teeth after a while. And yeah, I just Googled his name and I saw both of their faces and like probably the same article. I'm like, that's crazy because those guys are in the forefront of their talent. So I mean, the Haywood guy has been working there for years. I'm pretty sure he's got a daughter. Like I know he's married. I'm pretty sure he had a daughter a few years ago as well. So it's crazy.
Pretty sure he's not going to be married much longer.
Yeah.
Just so gross.
What's Haywood's
Hate
first
cause
name?
of Camel's shirt.
What?
I liked Mo's comment here saying Camel Moon wears his checkered past on his sleeve. What do you think of Camel Moon's jacket there?
I like it. I really like black and white anything.
Schizo Two-Face.
They should, hand to hand across America. That's what it makes me think of.
You could have the squares made out of Velcro, and you could kind of like stick chess pieces onto it.
Yeah.
And walk around and be like a walking art piece.
I'm just gonna put two paws right here, sticking out.
Michael wants to know if it's a hoodie, a jacket, or a sweater.
It's a tablecloth. I just wrapped. It's a hoodie. Yeah.
What are you up to, Skip? We haven't spoken yet. What's going on with you?
No, I'm just doing a page layout. Hanging out listening to you guys. Yeah.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about your love fest that you had for me on your show the other night before I arrived?
Ooh. I can't do that to the person in the chat. I deleted his comments. I don't know if all you saw.
Yes, I saw. I mean, I know I saw that you deleted comments. He was like, "Don't scroll up and look at anything." I mean, I don't know what you were thinking. If it's on the internet, it's there for people to see.
No, I didn't get that many views. Let's change the subject. Is Mo Biggs in the chat?
There's something weird happening out there. I was on Finatra's stream the other night, and he showed me one of Leroy's shows. And he said I was mentioned on that show 12 times on the single show.
Wow.
And he said he's going to make a cut of it. And hopefully it was all complimentary. Todd, you were on that show. I saw you there.
Yeah.
You may have mentioned me a couple of times as well. So that will be interesting. It's a weird thing.
I hope I said good things. I don't remember.
It's gonna be part 2 of my Ascension cinema trailer. I got to keep these hats on to keep the head nicely contained within. I don't want to become that guy that we were looking at earlier, the Antifa guy.
Yeah, you don't want to be someone that like plays Ascension Cinema highlight videos or anything.
That guy watched way too many videos about himself.
I just spoke to this Ascension Cinema today on the phone.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
What for?
What for? Oh, just talking.
No, I thought you said you were like I thought you said you booked something, like you got a job or something.
No,
you just
we
talked
were
to
just hanging out. I mean, my boyish
okay.
charm again. People want to talk to me.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I understand that. Like I said, I see you all around. I thought you were saying you he was doing a trailer for you or something.
No, we were just talking through trailer stuff, like ideas.
Mo is accusing me of doxing his DMs pretty much by talking about what was on that stream. Hey, Mel read it as well. She saw it too. She knows the inside scoop.
Ooh.
Mortal V says Leroy groomed him to start making fun of me. Well, yes, come and make fun of me. I mean, I'm down with it. Oh, look, Stefani is bigging me up here too. There you go. I'm just gonna leave this here. Do you like my hat, Phil?
No.
No? Not down with it? Okay. Clip that.
Is that a Las Pages hat?
I'm going to clip that and send that to John and Mark and everyone. I'm totally just going to leave this comment right here. It's fine.
It's a good comment. I have crazy news, Michael.
Yeah? What's your news?
So a few weeks ago, we haven't spoken in a while. I think the last time we talked, we were in the audience of a fight between John Malin and John Gordon Murphy, and there was some commentary going on.
They actually had a real video together?
It was a stream that was taken down.
It was, yeah.
That was a great stream.
When?
Oh, man. No, you can't talk about it.
Yeah,
it's
you can't talk
literally, it's down the memory hole for good reason. For good reason. But
someone
it
was bloodied, there was teeth missing.
But you can tell me when.
It happened like
that
3 weeks
Graveyard
ago.
Shift 3 closed out. It was the after stream.
Yeah, it was after Graveyard Shift 3 closed out, and then someone did an after stream talking about it. It was great. Good times.
And no one has it? Like, no one has it?
Oh, no, it was like...
Wait!
I can send you some bits.
Camel, I'm pretty sure
Skip's got it.
I thought you knew about it. You should have had it, so you could have turned it into...
oh, man, yeah, no. No, yeah, it started off. I was like, man, this is like prime. This would be your prime material.
Okay. So, like, it was about 2-3 weeks ago, you said?
Yeah.
I was in Florida for a week because we were closing on my house.
I mean,
Michael, did you get a link to it for your stuff that you wanted to turn it into, or no?
No, I didn't. I didn't manage to get anything
from
it because I was like, this was me thinking, this was going to bring me out of retirement. It was that spicy and saucy and funny. It was pretty good stuff. But then, it just sort of started creeping over the line. It crept up towards the line, and I was like, okay, we could probably cut off now. And then he just sprinted. He just sprinted, way past the line.
Who threw the first punch?
I don't know. It was just one person, but we're not it was what was said on it. Anyway, let's leave it. Let's leave it in the past.
Okay.
Yeah,
tell me off stream.
I will.
Yeah, we'll tell you about it. So anyways, slightly after that, I went to a apple orchard with the family, and then near that apple orchard is a big candy company factory, and we go to that. It's like a big candy store. So I found some candy that's called chocolate sea foam, and I took a look at it, and I'm like, this looks like Violet Crumble, which is the Australian candy that Michael and I love. And I asked the young lady, I'm like, what is this? And she's like, oh, it's chocolate covered dried molasses, or like dehydrated molasses. And she's like, I don't know anybody that likes it. And I'm like, she let me try a piece, and that's exactly what it was. Violet Crumble, dude. And I got big chunks of it. I was trying to save some, but I haven't seen you. I haven't been on the stream in so long.
Right, you couldn't help yourself.
I ate it all.
The temptation was too much.
They were like these nuggets of it instead of a bar. So
we've clearly done a bad thing here by talking this up and not delivering. I'm sorry, guys. Like this is not No, like I'm serious. This stream, if you weren't there, it went to places that no stream has ever been before.
Yeah.
It was. Let me just say this, and you'll know who and what it was about. It was a spiral of proportions never seen before, and probably never since.
Yeah,
And
it's
the people who
biggest
were
spiral.
there, the people who were there, were like feeling like they were part of a moment in history.
Michael, did you get a message from Kelsey Shannon the next day saying thank you for
No,
being,
no, I don't
being
know
there for
Kelsey
them?
that well. I don't know. Kelsey
Okay, he messaged because he was on that.
Yeah,
stream.
he was on. Yeah,
And then the
before
next
us.
day he's like, I had to go, but I was still watching. Thanks for not stoking the flames. Calming that
Yeah, I
down.
know. Look, we're really being terrible here. It
Compop.
really was.
I haven't seen
to be
Compop in a Hail Compop. I haven't seen.
We haven't seen Compop here on this show ever, so thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
And we got
Compop.
Sheila Allen here as well. Mortal V's here.
Hail
It's
Sheila.
great. It's great.
Now I'm sad I missed that after one because I watched his closeout stream, but I don't think I watched the after one. I think I went to bed because it was like 3 o'clock in the morning or something.
Yeah.
Now
yeah,
I'm sad I missed it. Dang.
It was after work for me. That's what I remember. So it would have been late for you guys. But we should stop talking about it because we just the poor chat. I mean, like I wish I could. I wish I could because up to a point it was some of the best stuff I'd ever heard. It was.
Can we
just,
end the stream so you can tell me about it?
well, we can end soon. But I thought Phil has turned up, so I thought maybe we might talk a bit about the Lost Pages because we haven't had him for a while, and we talked about that Hail Caesar book or whatever the hell it is, and
I don't know.
Yeah, we just we sold some art yesterday. Someone bought the cover art for The People by Avery Butterworth. So thank you so much for backers, everyone that's backing. We put some new art on here as well. If you go to the wild card section, there's a sick double-page spread that Joe Ball did, and we're down to 3 pages left until we go to print. Joe just has to finish up basically 2.5 pages, and then we'll send them to colors. Those are going to get lettered really quickly, and we'll be ready to go into print. Talk to the printer also. If you guys did back the Simon Bisley tier, which Simon's going to sign, there's only 4 of those left, so definitely get on that. And we talked to Mixum. They're hooking us up. They're actually going to be printing those copies in the UK, shipping them to Simon Bisley, and then he's going to sign them. And then they're going to collect it back from Simon and then ship it over to us.
Ooh.
So, yeah, they're really helping us out with that because Mixum has printers all over the world. But they're based in the UK, so they said they could get those printed really quick. That's such a small quantity, and then have them over there basically in a day. So there's that fire page right there.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is new. I
And
haven't
the
seen
new
this.
Joe Ball wildcard page.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like if you see the black and white and then you see the color, the difference is so drastic because there's so many lines on that black and white one, and then the colors just perfectly separate everything. It's amazing.
Hey, we had a guest on Adam Lawson the other day who's he's got Maria Lopez doing a 6-page in his book as well.
That's right. Yeah, he said that he found her through the Lost Pages because he was an early backer and he really liked Maria's stuff. So I rubbed it in her face and said, "You're welcome for getting her some more work."
Yeah, I mean, that's what you do. You hold it over people. And...
Yeah, well, I've known her for years, so she's a good friend of mine. But yeah, he got Maria, and he also got Maxie, who's the artist of the silhouette, which is awesome. I mean, that's what I want to see from this campaign because we're working with so many amazing creators and artists in CG that. This campaign, if anyone looks at it from the book, the bonus comic, or even these trading cards that you're showing right now, they're going to see so many different creators. And, I want them to get work.
How can you have, like, men and women and non-white people and all that sort of stuff in here? I thought that's what we were against.
You're being a terrible racist. I just want to let you know that.
I know. Maria's, Native American woman. Who's an artist as well. We got Odie.
What?
He's from
What?
Greece.
It's all misogynist. There can't be any women.
I know. I tried,
It
but
must really pissed them off so much. you know.
Wait,
but
you mean-
I think this
they're angry
campaign.
that our women actually have cervixes. That's what it is.
Oh. Yeah, I hope people look to the campaign and be like, "Oh, those artists are cool. I want to hire them," because that's better for everybody.
Yeah.
You have put like an insane amount of stuff into this campaign. It's like, I mean, it's become one of the ones that I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on now.
Thank you.
Because
So
of just all the stuff that I know I'm going to be getting.
Yeah,
all the content.
maybe I put too much into it, but it's just because
Never.
I'm so excited about the stories and I want everybody to, have it all.
Tell you, Phil, I want that wild card art though.
I just
If I could buy it without my wife killing me, I'm trying to figure out a way.
I know, dude.
That picture is so awesome.
Which one?
The new wild card art you put up.
The double page with the fire.
No, the one that's for sale. The one that you put up for sale, the wild card art.
Oh, this one. Yeah, the trading card. I'll show you right here. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What we're actually gonna do, I think.
Look how awesome that is. Oh man.
I think I'm gonna put it on the auction stream with Ethan in a couple weeks.
Oh, good idea. Yep.
So it's on the campaign now. So if you want it at that price, get it. Or you could try your luck at the auction. Because Omar, he's a killer artist, and we definitely want to sell this and get him some extra money for it.
Yeah.
Look at all these sold out things you've got here. Okay, all right. So where is that? Oh, there it is. 350. Right, that's a steal.
Yeah. It comes with both of the books, the regular book and the bonus comic.
How do you get on the artist stream? Where do you just email him, I guess?
I think you just get in touch.
It's again, boyish charm. I just turned 27, so I'm right under the mark
Be
for
a
it.
likable guy.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you're
But,
of
yeah,
an age where he could actually groom you, just like
I messaged
Frager's
him.
doing.
I just asked him, "Hey, I got this art."
Oh, that's cool. That's cool that he was just like, "Yeah, come on in."
Yeah, I've never, because all my other stuff like Magic Hop, we didn't have original art, so this is the first time I was able to, and I want my guys to get some extra money for their awesome work. So
Yeah. No, that's great. That's very
and
good.
it's kind of weird because I'm not the artist, but I have it. Art. So, but people know me, so hopefully it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's awesome that they do that with and I think he had said it was going to be a Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, the 2-day thing.
2-day, yeah.
He's doing it once a month now, or I don't remember that.
No.
Twice a year, I think.
No, it's like the kind of the less often the better.
Twice
so, yeah.
a year? Has it been?
Yeah, because
I guess you're right.
if you do it too much, then people.
No, I agree. Because I mean, Smiller was doing it all the fucking time. It was like,
yeah, and that was sort of like, is he still doing it often? Like,
actually, I don't think he did one for the last month. I'm not
well, because
sure.
we didn't get those stimulus checks, so.
if you want to get the most money, for the artists, you can't be just kind of pumping this stuff out. It's not like we're all millionaires or anything, and there's some really amazing art there. If you can save up for 6 months, you can have a chance at getting something good.
Yeah.
Nice, well done, man. 419 backers, 27,000. Now remind us, how much did you end up making on Magic Cop?
It was just under $14,000 on Magic Cop.
That's great. Look at the
so you killed
the success story of
it's
the Diaz brothers.
Thanks, guys. And we're coming back with Magic Cop 2 after this ships. So this weekend, I was talking about that trailer. We're going to be shooting some of the trailer this weekend for Magic Cop 2 as well.
So have you officially hit twice as much as Magic Cop, or are you just under?
I think we're past twice as much now.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, people keep coming back for the rest of our stuff. That would be amazing. We just got the Simon Bisley posters in. So if you got the bonus comic tier, then it comes with a Simon Bisley 11x17 foldable poster. So those prints are in, ready to go. and then the trading cards are actually done too.
Oh, do you get all
Look,
9?
Blue. Look, he puts them in a trading card thing. I just throw mine on the floor.
So it depends on what. So it depends on what you got. The standard book, you're going to get 8 of them. So it's going to be all of the characters except for the silhouette. Silhouette was a week 1 backer exclusive, and if you feel it, it is different than the rest of them. It has a velvet coating to it.
Yep, your classic soft touch.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Other people have started to do that now. Have you seen that?
Oh, they better not.
You used to be the only one, so you've got to reassert yourself. You should you should start calling it the Zaid touch.
The Zaid touch. You're right.
Yeah.
And then the other exclusive is if you're on the mailing list, this is a jam card. So each of our 4 artists did their respected characters, and we collaged them together.
Nice.
For the
and then awesome.
Everyone has a little description on the back too. So
good.
Going overboard.
I always like when Phil comes on. He always says something new and cool to show off.
Thanks, man.
That card Frigga did was awesome.
Oh yeah, he killed it on that.
Wow.
We got to make that a poster someday.
Oh yeah, wow, that would be awesome.
Let's see if Camel Moon made it to his 45,000.
I don't think so. I don't think anyone cares anymore.
Just
sad.
44,000, 45,000. It's amazing.
No one cares. You know.
Did you know that I was sitting on 29,999 for a day?
Well, yeah, and every time that you would actually get over 30,000, I would take back my bid. You know. So.
Oh, is that what was happening? I thought it was the exchange rate the whole time. But no,
you want to see something
Camel
cool?
Moon fucking with me.
These are the shoes I'm looking to buy on eBay. This is the cool stuff I bring to the show.
Hey, well, we've already had 10-year-old Mac computers. Show us your shoes.
Oh, I put it in the chat for you.
Okay, 1 sec. All right, what is this going to be?
private
I'm going to
chat?
cover up your. I'm going to put it in your tab.
That's
Oh, look at that!
Oh no!
Wow.
Hang on. Can I click on these?
I mean, they're women's shoes, but they don't make anything like this for guys. So I'm like, well,
I
whatever.
think there's a reason for that, brother.
Hey, I'm already married. You know, I don't care. I need
Do you have to shave your legs like that?
Christ.
So I need to look at my Antifa riots.
That's like something Stephanie Tanner would wear.
That's what I googled, Stephanie Tanner footwear, and that's what came up. Jackson was like,
No.
Hey man, I'm sorry I have, impeccable style. It doesn't look like something Stephanie wear. It looks like something Ethan would wear.
It's like something that you hope Ethan would wear, so that
I don't
it
know.
would
He got
fit in.
ridiculous purple hologram shoes he put up like a couple months ago. I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck are those?
All right, well, I think we are closing in on the 4 hours, and I can see Camel, like he's like waiting in anticipation to hear the goss
need to
on
know.
the actual stream. So I think we're going to end it there. This has been a lot of fun. It's been great hanging out with all you guys and gals. Sheila, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. All the sexiest chat in CG, as we like to say. You've been amazing. It's been a really good discussion. Everyone on the panel, thank you. It's my day off tomorrow. I'm going to be drawing all day long. It's going to be great. And then we're going to be back tomorrow, next week, with a whole new range of shows. All right, guys, we will see you then. Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Goodbye.